me be something. You wanna give me your head. If I ain't your girlfriend, I won't let go of your hand. Disappointed, 'cause you never see me. I'm better than you think of you. You're not very simple, you. Hold me to the waist, baby, touch me on my skin when you love me. Let me be something that you never imagined. Hold me to the waist, baby, touch me on my skin or just love me. Something that you never imagined. Let me be something. You wanna give me your head. Disappointed, 'cause you never see me. I'm better than you think of you. You're not very simple, you. Hold me to the waist, baby, touch me on my skin when you love me. Let me be something that you never imagined. felt so alive in my life. 'Cause you make me come to life every time. I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you see? I'm crashing into you. Felt so alive in my life. 'Cause you make me come to life every time. I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you see? I'm crashing into you.
Cannot show the leaves how to change or tell the plants to grow. And I'll never know what my heart chose you to fall for. So give me a reason and I'll pretend I'm in control. Just like the seasons, you're taking the time from me, but no, I don't believe it. This ain't how I thought things would go. Maybe we should leave this and go back. You cannot show the leaves how to change or tell the plants to grow. And I'll never know why my heart chose you to fall for. So give me a reason and I'll pretend I'm in control. Just like the seasons, you're taking the time from me, but no, I don't believe it. This ain't how I thought things would go. Maybe we should leave this and go back. You cannot show the leaves how to change or tell the plants to grow. And I'll never know why my heart chose you to fall for. So give me a reason and I'll pretend I'm in control. Just like the seasons, you're taking the time from me, but no, I don't believe it. This ain't how I thought things would go. Maybe we should leave this and go back. You cannot show the leaves how to change or tell the plants to grow. And I'll never know why my heart chose you to fall for. So give me a reason and I'll pretend I'm in control. Just like the seasons, you're taking the time from me, but no, I don't believe it. This ain't how I thought things would go. Maybe we should leave this and go back.
stops my plans, yeah. And doubt for me is big with your
wanted to bring to your attention. Again, after to every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You want to see a soft Ciara getting hit by Krom'z. Look at get that full team strip attack our first guy.
He did not pull the Champagne yet. I would have thought I would see Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Okay, here we go. Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's the 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
Wanted to bring to your attention again, as we do every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You want to see a soft Ciara getting hit by Frogmove. Look at we're going to get that full team driven back our first guy.
He did not pull the Champang yet. I would have thought I would choose Sierra first pick. He goes to the APAC.
Okay, here we go. Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's the 12,000. Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
Welcome back to SWC 2021 as we continue with the APAC preliminaries. We are here in week 2 with Group B. My name is Chobra, joined by Peter. And Peter, last week we took a look at Group A. We crowned 2 players to go to the APAC Cup, and it was a hell of a start for the APAC preliminaries here.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, in Group A, we've already had so many actions. I want to put emphasis on Bruisers coming out last week so many times. But of course, we do have Group B this week, so we're going to be seeing a lot of different flavors coming in.
Yeah, we should be seeing a lot of different things as every week we'll take a look at a new group, 8 new names coming in. Obviously, some of them returning from previous SWC entries, but a lot of new players as well. I mean, last week in Group A, we had some new names come in and put us some really good challenges. Of course, some returning names also continue to show their strength. It's no different in Group B, but I think that's the most exciting thing about the APAC preliminaries, Peter, is that we'll get different flavors. Of course, just as a reminder, all of these matches are currently being conducted online due to COVID-19, so we're taking precautions both on the health side and also the rules and regulations to make sure that there is fair play among all the competitors. So while we won't have all the players here on stage, at least we, Peter, get to be here in the studio. We've got that nice screen behind us, and we'll bring you all the action. Well, Peter, this is all for the SWC World Finals here for SWC 2021.
Yeah, you look at the dates so you guys can keep up with when we will bring these events live to you guys. Of course, there is the prize money, $210,000 US. You can go right ahead, spend some of it back into Summoner's War, and also spend a little bit of it on nice food.
Yeah, food's a big thing, of course.
Yeah.
I think, especially as we see more and more foods shared on social media. But yeah, the biggest thing is that you get a piece of that pie, the $210,000 US, if you make it to the World Finals. So that's very important. We here will be bringing you the APAC preliminaries. We started last week. We will be here every weekend with a new group. So we took a look at Group A last weekend and then Group B this weekend. All double elimination, so players will have more than just one chance to be able to try to continue their run. And the most important thing, Peter, is we're starting to see best of 5s as early as these preliminaries, right? The final matches in these groups will be best of 5.
Yeah, best of 5s, we always love to see it, and I believe we have seen only 2 to 3 best of 5s so far here in the Asia Pacific preliminary, so hopefully we can see more of that happening today.
Yes, we will see the best of 5s come up as we go for those last matches that determine who will be moving on to the APAC Cup. Last week in Group A, we saw Second Baby move on day 1. He went all the way through the winner's bracket, was able to take that first spot, and then Jack failed at the winners finals but came back with redemption in the losers finals on day 2 to secure the second spot going into the APAC Cup for SWC 2021.
Right, huge congratulations to those 2 players as we see now the new players of the day. Group B, we present to you Match 1, Diligent versus Silent Control, Xere RememberYS, Icedcoyote Krom'z, and BabyDarkness up against Hong KFC.
Yep, 8 new names coming into Group B, but again, not all of them are strangers here for SWC, and especially for you, Peter. I know that you know some of these players from beforehand as well, so it should be a good weekend of matches.
Yeah, definitely. We are having high expectations on these players, especially myself, because a lot of them are ex-guildies of mine.
Yeah, so you're going to be as critical as possible, right, against these players?
Well, I always like to say that, but, I am usually very nice to the players. I don't call out misplays too much. Yeah.
All right. We'll see. I mean, listen, if there's something that needs to be called, obviously we're here to call it, but obviously these players, they have the skill level to be able to make it to the preliminaries, so I don't think we'll be seeing anything too big of a mistake, but it is more going to be on these mind games. We saw a lot of that last week, Peter, where the adaptation is what mattered, and while players were predicting, Jogun continuing to be a strong force, we didn't see much of him. Like you said, more bruisers, more the Hanamushas, the Panda Warriors coming out in Group A.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of adaptation, right, that is especially important here in the SWC. If you want to be a contender, you got to be ready for patches that come up. And of course, as you mentioned, Jogun was one of the main units hit by a patch, and we definitely haven't seen much of him to success in Group A. But now in Group B, things could be different.
Yes, of course. Each group, again, having a different pool of players. So I'm sure we're going to be blessed with some different flavors. I would say even in Group A, we saw a lot of variance last week. The only probably big constant being Lulu, of course, was one of the most picked monsters that we saw in Group A. We'll see if that continues in Group B. But ladies and gentlemen, we are ready with our first match of the weekend here in Group B. It is going to be Diligent as our first player up on the screen. I mean, again, no stranger to SWC, also was in the most recent Legend tournament, taking second place, so a very, very skilled player.
Diligent, the name speaks for itself. We have seen this player so many times whenever there were Summoners War tournaments, whether it was Legend tournament or the SWCs. He is sporting an absolutely shiny record, and many of the players today in the interviews mentioned Diligent. That's the player I am on the lookout for the most.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think we have 4 out of the 8 players today, and obviously Diligent being one of them. So 4 other players saying that Diligent is the player I am afraid of the most. He's just such a strong player that it's hard going up against him. Well, Silent Control is one of those 4 that nominated Diligent as the most feared player, but he's gonna have to face his fears here in match number 1.
Yeah, the fear, speaking of Gianna as well, he says that is a unit that he does not like to deal with. So we're gonna be seeing a lot of Haegang, a lot of Ragdoll as a response to the pick. Especially, he said, please don't ban my Haegang.
I was just about to say, I think it's so funny. We always give these players this last question on their profile to say, you know, what's kind of the last words you have as you enter the tournament? What's your motto? And Silent Control says, please don't ban my Haegang. Well, we'll see if Diligent lets it through or not. We saw some Haegang contention in Group A, obviously a very, very strong monster in its own right. Well, Game 1 is ready between Diligent and Silent Control here for the SWC 2021 APAC preliminaries. This is Group B. This will be a best of 3 between these 2 players as we wait for the pre-bans here in the first draft.
This is going to be the first match of the day, so this is going to set the tone for many of the matches to come. Pre-bans, of course, we are expecting a targeted pre-ban for specific players, so it's not going to be anything too unusual.
Yeah, we'll see if it's going to be okay. The round on Gianna. Well, Gianna, definitely no surprise for Silent Control, saying that he doesn't want to have to go up against that monster. Ragdoll, of course, a very, very frequent visitor here in the pre-bans.
Yes, indeed. Gianna, Ragdoll, these 2 pre-bans are definitely very common, especially when faced up against players who utilize them to great success. As we see the Fire Bison being considered as the first pick, even in Group B today, this unit, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot.
Yeah, we didn't see it too often, but every time the Bison showed up, it was very strong. Last week, Okeanos, of course, showing up almost in every match in some form, being now paired with the Ganymede here for Diligent.
Yeah, I mean, Oki Gani first pick from Diligent, as we see some of the win rate for Okeanos, 45% out of 20 games. Don't know about that.
Yeah, well, you know, we talked about it last week on day 2. I think you mentioned to Peter where you're saying, I don't know, Okeanos, you know why he's being picked, but not really putting up as much success as you would hope in theory. So we'll see if that win rate changes. Ciara now going to be locked in. We see at a steady 50%. And then the Lulu continuing to show up. Lulu was picked, I think, over 75% of the times in Group A. So very, very common here in this current meta.
Yeah, absolutely. Lulu is topping the chart when it comes to statistics. She is there to be consistent, giving cleanse, giving heal, whatever you need. As we see Diligent sticking to a lineup that seems to be favoring a lot of CC within the lineup.
Okay, we have that Water Striker more being picked up by Diligent. Oh, okay. Silent Control.
The resistance passive.
Okay, goes right for Nyx. I hesitated for a brief moment, but is going to lock it in. Ooh, are we going to see Panda Warriors from the get-go today? Now looking at the Light Panda here for Diligent, a potential pick.
I do like the Tianlang out of Diligent if he locks it in, because that will effectively put a lot of pressure on Diana if you're Silent Control. So he has 7 seconds left while he thinks about it. Of course, it is going to be there to bring extra stuns, extra strip, extra everything. And of course, that is going to get locked in.
Okay, so we have all the picks on both sides for game number 1 of the first match here in Group B of the APAC preliminaries. Diligent versus Silent now just considering their post bans as they get ready for this first game.
The post bans, there are 10 seconds left. Of course, if you're Diligent, the Nyx is definitely an eyesore because you don't want to be in a position where each time you move, you're flipping a coin, whether you land debuffs or not. But Diligent is not scared.
Okay, yeah, he says, whatever, you know what, you can have that. I will just try to fight through it. Meanwhile, it's going to be that Tianlang going to be banned out. I think every time we see the Tianlang, it's such a high priority for bans because of how specific it plays into certain comps.
Yes, especially when picked into right comps, as you pointed out. Of course, Sierra, she wants to be cycling the attack bar, so now Silent Control has his 2 units enabled. They are there for the damage for the turns as we get into round number 1. Diligent grabbing the first turn with Water Striker, and he gets 3 strips. Now Chung Peng, he's going to be the follow-up here for the Okeanos and Gani. as we have Diligent thinking about what to do. Goes for the strip, and Diana now cuts in. Of course, she's got only a shield.
Okay, so a pretty strong start for Diligent.
Rain of
Oki.
Stones.
Okay.
Of course, Nyx there prevents the stuns from being too consistent.
Yeah, that's starting to be a bit of a bother.
Yeah, I mean, Ganny is here getting every single attack bar reduction. That is huge from Ganny. That is basically an extra turn of CC for Diligent. Now, Diligent has the proc, has the ventilate, but he saves it anyways. He's going to use the Spear of Devastation first. And of course, the Lulu and Friends is going to be an option for him, but he opts for Nyx instead.
Yeah, still trying to prioritize going up against that Nyx. It is still continuing to be a bother, especially against that Oki.
Yeah, and you just see the control coming out from the Chungpung, following up so beautifully for Diligent right now. And as we see the Ventilate coming out, it's just going to be Chungpung showtime.
Oh man, Diligent has full control right now as the health bars continue to dwindle on the side of Silent Control. Chungpung goes again.
And look at the attack bar.
Oh
Ganymede,
my
Chungpung.
gosh.
This combo has not let Silent Control move at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes you have the stuns, you have a bunch of things that can prevent you from moving, but a lot of times here for Diligent, it's just, I will negate your attack bar time and time again.
And look at that. Speaking of attack bar, he does have Seal Magic ready to go, and this is going to do some damage, and again.
Oh my gosh. Every time Silent Control gets close to being able to do anything, he doesn't get a single turn after the initial start of the game, and Diligent will take a swift victory here in Game 1. You know, we were wondering, okay, you're not banning the Nyx, is that going to be okay? But he came in with a plan, and he continued to just delete the attack bar.
Yeah, I believe attack bar reduction passive does not work against Nyx, but Okeano Stun does, right? Which is why we saw Diligent opting to ventilate the Chungpung instead, and that's pretty much all he needed to do to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, very smart on Diligent. Like you said, having that knowledge and saying, okay, my stuns are not going to be as consistent as I want them to be, but I still have so many ways to control this game. And now as we get into Game 2, we see some quick pre-bans coming out. The Haegang does get banned out by Diligent. This time the Xere being banned out by Silent Control.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Silent Control, you're definitely sad about that because that is a unit that he wanted available to counter Gianna on the side of Diligent, as we see Okeanos being a pick for Diligent, and I do support it this time because it worked out so beautifully in Game 1.
Yeah, it seems like Oki is just going to be this consistent pick that we see where it provides enough threat, right? It's not the highest of threats, but it's a good way to start some of your comps, and then you can try to see how else you want to round it out. We've seen a lot of players prioritizing that Oki. Now we continue to see Ganymede and that Gianna, as you mentioned, finally being picked up for Diligent.
Yeah, I mean, earlier you told me about how Silent Control likes to bring in some soccer strategy where this is where he needs to bring it out.
Yeah, he says he utilizes soccer, or for a lot of global people, football strategies here in Summoner's War. I'm very curious to see how that works out. I'm not seeing too many similarities, but maybe he'll surprise us here in Game 2.
Surprise us with the Moor and Ragdoll. So far, there's not really anything too out of the ordinary for both players. Pretty expected picks for these players specifically. These units have been utilized historically very oftenly by these players.
Tianlong being considered again as Diligent looks for his last picks, and he's gonna continue to change it up if he sticks.
The Leona is definitely a power pick because if you look at Silent Control's lineup, the 4 units there are going to have a bit of a trouble dealing with this Leona pick. And based on the last pick out of Silent Control, we will get to see how he deals with Leona.
Okay, so both players seeming to come in with some good preparation. I mean, Diligent throws the first card down, says, I have my Leona, and Silent Control seems to be ready to answer right back.
Yeah, the Herney is going to be there to provide some Oblivion debuff, not for 2 turns, but for 3 turns. So that will effectively lock down the Leona, but Silent Control opts to ban it out instead, playing it safely in case the Herney gets banned out.
Yeah, so not taking any chances there. Meanwhile, Diligent is going to be banning out the Lulu and Friends as we see the leaders picked on both sides. Getting ready for game number 2. Diligent currently leading 1-0 in this best of 3 for Group B in their first match.
Here we go. Gianna is starting out the turn for Diligent. He is looking for the angle right now. He goes for the critical error. He lands 3 stuns. And now Silent Control. What can you do with this Herney?
Yeah, this was the last pick for Silent Control, trying to answer back against Diligent.
Yeah, I mean, the stun being traded on to Gianna and off of Ragdoll. Now, Tian Lang is looking for the armor break setup, but he does miss. We have Okeanos with the Rain of Stones, looking to grab some control, but he gets only 2. Ganymede, of course, he's always there as a brother. Don't worry, you may mess up, but I am your backup. I got Ventilate, Seal Magic, everything.
I love it. Just the brothership here between those two monsters. That's why we see them paired so often, and we are going to see Okeanos get a second chance here.
Second chance indeed, as we see a stun coming out onto the Moor this time, but Herney, being water, is going to be the vein for Okeanos, unable to lock it down. As Herney at this point, she can try to Oblivion the Tian Lang, but no, he's going for the attack bar decrease onto Oki.
All right, and it is going to have by some time for Silent Control as we now look to Gianna again for Diligent.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Silent Control, I feel like the only unit that's been moving is the Herney, right? He needs to start getting turns as we see Tian Lang with the Dragon's Dance finishes off the Fire Bison.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. As you mentioned, again, it's still just the Herney that's having anything to do, and now even Herney goes down so low with that bomb.
What a showcase from Diligent. He knows that the CC comp works fantastically for him.
Man.
And we just see the Ganny piling extra turns for the cycling of the cooldowns. And there we have it, guys.
That is a quick 2-0 for Diligent. He says, no matter what you pick, I've got answers ready. He even played around those post bans, making sure to take out that Lulu, which seems to be such a thorn for so many of these players. And he takes that second game victory. Silent Control will now be moving down to the losers bracket. Diligent will continue in the winners bracket today here in day 1 of the Group B APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021.
Right, so we saw just Diligent opting for CC again and again, and it just worked.
Yeah, I mean, and different factors too, right? I mean, the first game, we were a little concerned about the stun against the Knicks, but then he just says, well, I'll just delete your attack bar just constantly with all of my monsters and you'll never get a turn. And then we see a similar thing happen in game 2, but now with some changes as you're trying to work around the monsters that Silent Control picked. I mean, this is why all these players fear Diligent.
Yeah, I mean, Diligent, even if he doesn't do CC, we've seen him have other options, a bruiser like Leona. As we get into the replay now, round 1, this is where the attack by reduction was too much for Silent Control.
This is a rare moment where we saw a brief moment of attack bar on Silent Control, and then it all gets decreased once again.
Chungpong Ganny, this combo, it has worked out so good in round 1, but now we get into round 2, and of course, again, the Ganymede was there. This time, it was Ganny-Oki combo, and it was just as strong.
Really showcasing why those two are paired so often together, utilizing that Ganymede to make sure the Okeanos has some insurance, has some backup to be able to continue putting out those stuns, and Diligent will win 2-0 off of those quick games. What a way to start the day, Peter. These were pretty swift and pretty one-sided, I gotta say, for Diligent.
Yeah, it was like being in like a Summoner's War school, a class, and we're just flipping through the textbooks, and they're like, so Ganny-Oki gets a turn, reduce attack bar. If Okeanos misses, Ganny is here for Ventilate, Seal Magic. It was very textbook.
Yeah, it just went as it's usually planned, as you expect in theory. Well, that was only match 1. We have the entire winners bracket to go through today, and we are already ready to go into game number 2, or match number 2, I should say, between two new players. This time it is going to be Xere versus RememberYS. Let's take a look at Xere's profile first.
Yeah, we have Xere here, definitely a player with a lot of attention on his shoulders. As we see Beelzebub, always an exciting unit. He just brings so much damage, especially with the skill 2.
The Beelzebub we saw briefly in Group A as well. Just a monster that really changes how you have to play that matchup. So we'll see Xere. Is he going to utilize that monster to his advantage? Xere did make it all the way to the APAC Cup last year for SWC 2020. So we'll see if he's able to make a deeper run this time around for SWC 2021.
Just as you mentioned, Chobra, he did say that he has not won a tournament before in the SWC, so he is definitely looking to take that win. But of course, his opponent is waiting for him at the first step. RememberYS. This is my friend. We literally texted this morning, and he said that Jara, he wanted me to point out Jara because this unit is absolutely garbage, and he says, please come to us buff Jara. And for me, please buff Trinity.
Oh, sneaking in your own wishes
Yeah.
right there. Well, remember YS, he still clearly has a lot of the other monsters that he's been working around since he doesn't feel comfortable using the Jara. We are seeing some familiar faces, some new ones as well. The Water Striker, of course, continuing to show more and more often throughout this current meta. Well, RememberYS going up against Xere. I mean, you called it. Xere, he's been in so many tournaments, both local and regional, and he hasn't been able to lift up a cup yet. He wants to do it as he challenges the world here in SWC 2021. We're getting into game number 1 of this matchup. This is match number 2 in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
So getting into this matchup between Xere and RememberYS, what I am expecting to see is a lot of CC-oriented comps out of RememberYS, very similar to what Diligent has showcased in the previous match. And as for Xere, I expect him to be taking units like Lulu, Fire Bison.
RememberYS really wants this message sent. He wants some more attention on the Jara.
Not just Jara, but Sonzang Lao. Where is the buff? That is what he is saying. But of course, Changpeng is going to get locked in first.
Okay, so remember taking some, this is the advantage you have when you get onto the world stage. You get to kind of send some messages through your monster box. It is going to be the Changpeng, though, locked in. And you called it. I mean, Xere going for that M Bison and the Lulu, both in his first pick. As we look at Lulu, I mean, showing up 20 times and still over a 50% win rate, so not so bad.
Yeah, definitely one of the best statistics we have looked at here today in Group B. As we see, of course, Moore and Okeano is going to be the pickup for RememberYS. This Trinity combo that RememberYS has, we have seen this comp work very well with each other. A lot of attack bar mitigation, a lot of stuns, resets. Of course, Ganny's going to show up with a potential Poseidon.
Okay, well, up to the Ganymede, I mean, this is what Diligent showed us in that first game of his match, but now the Poseidon added in as a 5th pick for RememberYS. Xere now waiting on his last pick.
Yep, it is going to be the Spear versus Shield. Of course, Leo is a pick that many players are opting for a speed comp. They don't like to see this unit because it makes their runes and artifacts useless. So if RememberYS bans Leo, he's going to have to deal with Annabelle, deal with Lulu. He's got to get his debuffs onto them. And of course, Diana and Bison is there to be very annoying when they get turns.
Yeah, I feel like on Xere's side, just every single monster is something that you have to spotlight individually. On the flip side, I mean, RememberYS still lots of strong monsters as well. As we looked at the post-bans, the Leo, like you mentioned, gets banned out, and then the Changpeng against RememberYS. This is the first game between these two players here in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
Here we go. RememberYS trying to get the strips, but he gets it only onto Diana. And of course, Diana's going to cut in with the shield. At this point, Okeanos, he's going for the Spear of Devastation, and it was a 50-50 that he lost.
Oh boy, that's going to hurt just a little bit. Now Ganymede.
Yeah, he's getting the reset, but it's not getting enough as we see Lulu coming in now with some of the cleanse, some of the additional turns into healing.
We've seen this before, Peter. Once the Lulu is left alone to do whatever they wish, Lulu and friends will keep any team alive forever. So this is a pain point for RememberYS.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, RememberYS is dishing out whatever remaining skills, but we see Xere, he is just completely protected as we see Diana setting us up for the Pew Pew Town. Here comes the inevitable wound with very good damage.
Okay, that's a lot of damage against RememberYS. So as you mentioned, Xere sitting very comfortably, very calm, all pretty much topped off on health and putting out damage with the Diana as well.
Yeah, the Ganny right now, he doesn't have any skills available, so he's not going to be able to lock down the Diana. She's just going to transform right back into her unicorn form, of course, landing at the sun to just rub the pain in.
Oh boy, Xere seems to have the upper hand. Of course, still a little more to work through, but more damage coming out from the M Bison.
Yeah, I mean, right now, RememberYS looking to grab whatever turns he can onto the Oki, but the attack speed slow is there from Annabelle. And right now, Xere is just looking to basically survive this one turn and then try to win with the Diana proc. She's got the Pew Pew angle yet again. Inevitable wound. She's got 3 targets. She chooses Ganny. Here comes a 3,000.
Okay, so just lots of damage done, but it is going to move on to M Bison. Now Diana coming back and transforms right back.
Yeah, Diana could not get the job done onto Ganny, but Ganny has one more turn needed before he gets his skills. Oh, a prop!
Okay, all right, so he does have a chance to do a little bit more for his team before he gets eliminated.
Yeah, the Ganny right now trying to keep the hopes alive for YS as Lulu and friends right now. She can only go for the skill 1 as now she's got the skill 2 available.
Oh my gosh, everything lining up right when you need it for both players, but Xere, of course, just one step ahead currently. Okeanos goes for the skill 3.
It was consistent, but not enough because now Diana is here. She's going for the pew-pew angle yet again. Inevitable wound gonna be landed onto Ganymede. Take him out. Fire Bison is here for more control.
Okay, so just making sure you get rid of the Ganymede, and now you get a chance to eliminate the Okeanos. It's just more left for RememberYS.
Now, this is where the Moore wants to be soloing, but can he into a Diana? I am not too sure, but...
yeah. I'm not so sure, Peter. I mean, obviously, you know the game way better than I do, but... Oh, okay, well... just lives with a sliver, and it's going to be Diana to finish the job, and Xere will be taking that game 1. I mean, right at the beginning, just able to top everyone right off, not taking too much damage, and Xere able to take the victory here in game 1 of match 2 in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
Yeah, so in the match number 1 between Diligent and Silent Control, we have seen CC being so strong. Silent Control just could not defend against it, but Xere showing a way to deal with that strategy was just so strong. The second Lulu and friends was unable to get locked down.
Yeah, when the Lulu and friends shows up, I feel like you're just so pressured to put so much attention onto that single monster, and if you let them go their own way, that opponent team will just be healthy forever. So we'll see, is there going to be any attention paid here in the draft to Lulu and friends? We are getting ready for the pre-bans of game 2. No, not just yet. I mean, we'll see how the picks go, but it is going to be the Water Panda and then the Pontos being banned out as well.
Yeah, so Molong ban is definitely an interesting one from Xere because we have seen YS opting for that CC in match number 1. And now Xere knows a bit into YS. He recognizes Molong as a threat to his comp. I believe it lined up perfectly, especially with the Pontos ban, because it's very possible that YS was going to pick that unit, especially by banning the invincibility.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. So a little bit of telegraphing from both sides. Xere going for that Lulu and friends first pick. Can't fault him for that one. RememberYS answers with his own 2. And now we're waiting for Xere's next pick. Looking at that Fire M Bison, what else is he considering?
Fire Bison, Lulu and friends, these 2 picks we have seen from Xere last time, but of course, Ragdoll being there as the trio is just going to make the second turn strategy out of Xere even stronger.
Okay, so the Ragdoll obviously not able to be pre-banned here in game 2, so going to be picked up by Xere. RememberYS. Okay, the Icarus still being considered. Usually we've seen that paired with the Molong, but Molong obviously not able to be joining this time around.
Yeah, I mean, it seems though that Xere's pre-ban has hit the spot for YS. Molong not being there, he decided to switch up his comp, going for Fran Daphnis instead. And the thing is, usually when you have Daphnis, he shines when you pair with a Ganny, giving him an extra chance on the Hellfire. So it is going to be a matter of an important question to see the last pick.
Beelzebub, we talked about it before the match began. Does he show his head here?
Oh, we see Triana. This has been a unit that we haven't seen too much this year in the SWC 2021 Asia Pacific preliminaries, but of course, it is going to be a powerful unit against Daphnis, against Sierra, sniping a unit, but we're seeing a bit of a flash, a different strategy lineup.
RememberYS having a lot of different considerations, just teasing us with a couple different picks here. What is he going to finalize on for the last pick here? Oh, it's going to come back to the Icarus.
So at this point, if you're YS, you want to be banning out the Triana or the Beelzebub because those 2 are the main thorns for your team. They get in the way of your combo, so Triana is going to be the choice and Chung Pung for Xere.
Okay, so the Triana ban, of course, you don't have 2 bans, so Beelzebub will still be going through for Xere. And RememberYS, this is a best of 3. Xere currently leading 1-0. RememberYS needs to come back here if he wants a chance to stay in the winner's bracket here in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
This first turn is going to be really important for YS. He wants to be piling whatever advantage he can. But the Daphnis is going to move after Sierra, so unfortunately there is no strip setup the bomb will not be available. As we see now, Darkness with the Hellfire angle, going for the Bison, and it misses a crit.
Oh no, so close. Okay. Oh wow. So much damage, but just not enough to finish off that M Bison in one spell swoop.
Yeah, I mean, the Bison was definitely a monster that YS poured all of his skills into, but he's standing there so strong. And now Fran going to be able to finish the job finally, and now we are sitting on a 3v3. But do keep in mind that Icarus has used her skill 3. She is sitting there as a sitting duck. At this point, it is going to be the Xere show. Xere recognizes it, and the proc, of course, is going to be able to put up some immunity.
Okay, so Xere now knowing exactly where to focus here in Game 2. He wants to win this and make it a 2-0.
A 2-0 is indeed what Xere is looking for as he's piling the damage onto Xere. He's got the skill 2. He can save it. He's just going for the skill 1 instead, and it does so much damage.
Oh my gosh, this Beelzebub.
There we go! 17,000! Sit down, Xere, is what Xere is saying. Beelzebub Showcase is the time today.
That's crazy. Beelzebub is putting on so much damage. Of course, gets the res onto the M Bison as well with that passive. I think this is all but done here against RememberYS.
Yeah, I mean, look at the bruisers on the side of Xere. They are so healthy. YS needs the Icarus to try to bring a comeback somehow, but Icarus, she does damage based on her HP, so she gets only weaker as the time goes on.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, this is a race against time, and there's so much to get through for this Icarus. Not much else you can hope for here for RememberYS.
Yeah, things are looking very grim for YS. The Fran trying to do whatever she can to hold on to the ropes for YS, but you look at the Psycho Crusher. It's doing good damage and just control all over the place.
It gets the stun onto the Fran as well, so Icarus just lonely right now on the side of RememberYS.
Here we go. This is the damage versus sustain. Dark Demon looking for the 11,000.
Oh my god.
What a damage.
Beelzebub, insanity, bringing victory to Xere here in game number 2. Another quick 2-0 here to kick things off in Group B of the APAC preliminaries on the road to SWC 2021.
Yeah, I mean, this is just crazy from Xere, right? Every time we have seen the Beelzebub, it was just too much for the opponent to deal with.
Every attack just hitting the mark, getting so much damage, and then leading to the res as well. That was just really salt in the wound. I think Beelzebub alone could have pretty much brought that victory home, but Xere shows how dominant he is in this opening match against RememberYS. Now, of course, RememberYS not eliminated just yet. It is a double elimination group, but he will have to wait until tomorrow to play again, while Xere will be moving on in the winner's bracket today in Group B of the APAC preliminaries. Let's take a look at how that match played out.
Yeah, so we see the first replay of the match between YS and Xere, and it was just devastating for YS because he just could not get any follow-up control after turn 1. The second Lulu and Friends was there for the cleanse.
Yeah, Lulu and Friends not being locked down early enough, fighting RememberYS back here in Game 1. And then we get to Game 2. This is the Beelzebub show.
Yeah, we see, of course, the Fire Bison surviving every onslaught of damage from YS. And to be honest, though, even if Bison got taken down, it just seemed like YS didn't have an answer to the Beelzebub because the Xere could not get a single bomb off this game.
Exactly. The Beelzebub still got a kill right after, so probably would have been a quick revive once again had the M Bison died just a bit earlier. So Xere coming well prepared into this match, takes it 2-0. That means he will be moving on to meet Diligent in the winners semifinals later today. As you look at the bracket, we have many more matches to go. Ladies and gentlemen from home, we have match 3 and 4 coming up. Icedcoyote, Krom'z, BabyDarkness, and Hong KFC. And after the matches we saw to kick off the day, Peter, I am very excited for the remaining matches.
For sure, like the first part of this day has been nothing but sweeps. 2-0, 2-0.
This is how it went last week too, right? Day 1 was a bunch of sweeps, and then players started to adapt and try to compete against each other, but history might be repeating itself here in Group B.
For sure. Day one, it has been a day of 2-0s, and so far it is proving itself to be true. But of course, Icedcoyote, Krom'z, BabyDarkness, and Hong KFC, I am reading these names, and I definitely recognize many of these players to have different strategies revolving around specific units that they own. So, of course, going to be very excited to see what type of strategy they bring.
Yeah, this has been the most exciting part. And again, as we've mentioned before, when we get to cover the APAC regions, each group bringing different players, right, that are used to different metas and obviously their own monster pools, we are exposed to a lot of different ideas, maybe some pocket picks, some different just overall meta comps that are coming up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we saw a look at match 1 and 2. We'll be taking a quick break. When we come back, match 3 and 4 in Group B of the APAC preliminaries in SWC 2021 continues.
Wanted to bring to your attention again, after to every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You want to see a soft Ciara getting hit by Crossmove. Look at Looking to get that full team driven back our first guy.
He did not pull the Champang yet. I would have thought I would choose Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
wanted to bring to your attention again after every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You don't see a side. Ciara getting hit by Krom'z. Look at Looking to get that full team strip attack our first guy.
He did not pull the Changpang yet. I would have thought I would see Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Okay, here we go. Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's the 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
Welcome back, everyone. We have returned with Group B of the APAC preliminaries here for SWC 2021. 8 players have entered today in this group to challenge the world as they try to get to the World Finals. We looked at the first 2 matches. Now we are on to match 3. Icedcoyote will be the first player in this match, Peter.
One of the most interesting things about Icedcoyote is, of course, going to be the Volantis. This is a pick we haven't seen too much, but he is very popular because he interrupts the opponent's combo so well.
Yeah, Volantis seems to be a big highlight for Icedcoyote. We'll have to keep an eye on if he brings it out in these matches as well. Of course, we've seen players try to change things up as they get prepared for the tournament. That is one monster that we have to pay attention to. On the other side, it is going to be Krom'z. And Krom'z, coming into this preliminary, said, whoever wants to face up against me, you better be prepared. So he is very, very confident here in SWC 2021.
They better be prepared indeed. Krom'z is another representative from the Guild GOAT that I used to be a part of, as well as RememberYS. So he is my last hope at this point of hoping that one of my fellow guildmates advances on.
Yeah, here in the winner's bracket, of course, you want to try to get that first spot out of the group and sit comfortably knowing that you've made it into the APAC Cup. You don't want to have to go down to the wire tomorrow in day 2 in the loser's bracket where you face elimination. Well, match number 3, another best of 3 between these two players in Group B of the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. We are now in the draft waiting for the pre-bans. We'll see if we see the familiar faces or if it's gonna be okay. So I was wondering Volantis, and then we're going to see the Archangel as well.
Definitely unusual pre-bans.
Okay.
We're not used to seeing this right off the bat. Krom'z is putting a lot of respect onto the Volantis, as we talked about earlier, because the disruption is so strong. And Krom'z says that his friends like to call him the Chrome the Tiger.
The Chrome the Tiger.
I like that.
Okay, all right. Got a little nickname going for yourself as we're looking at the picks go through. The picks are a bit more common, right? We started with the Oki on Krom'z' side. We got the Cardinal and then the Chungpung coming out for Icedcoyote.
Yeah, I mean, the Icedcoyote picks, we've seen him mentioning the Tiana. To be honest, I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing that unit here today.
Yeah, Icedcoyote is very proud of his Tiana, and then I believe the Shakan as well. Two monsters that we weren't really expecting here for SWC 2021. We'll see if he has something prepared or if that's just what he favors, but he still knows what the meta is.
He indeed knows what the meta is. Molong, Diana is going to be a very consistent lineup for Icedcoyote. I'm sure he feels good the moment he placed his fingers on the units and pressed OK.
Yeah, Diana, Molong going to be very faithful monsters as we've seen time and time again. Quite consistent. Molong enough to be pre-banned quite often in Group A. We'll see if that trend continues here in Group B. Krom'z is going to wrap up his picks. And now all 5 monsters locked in, rounding it out with Jogun and then the Savannah.
Diana was sitting on a 58% win rate, which is the shiniest win rate out of any units we've taken a look at so far. So now the question is, will Krom'z have an answer to this Diana? And then of course, the Moore last pick. We've seen this unit so many times today, it is definitely heavily contested.
Yeah, I think Moore was one of those monsters that a lot of people might have expected to see a bit more often coming into the preliminaries. Not so much in Group A, but already in Group B, very highly contested. It's going to be the Art Masters being banned out on both sides. Chungpung against Icedcoyote, and then Jogun out against Krom'z.
No more attack buff for Krom'z, and if you're Icedcoyote, your only option of control now is going to be Cardinal. So as we look at the matchup, Icedcoyote actually opting for the HP leader instead of the speed leader. This does mean that Coyote is looking for that turn 2. So Krom'z, of course, going to be grabbing the first turn with the Okeano. Spear of Devastation is going to connect into the Molong, and it lands the reset. Critical Link looking for the strip and lands it. Things are going good for Krom'z.
Okay, the start you wanted, as we see Lulu just putting on that immunity for the team. Going to continue to be a pain against Icedcoyote.
Icedcoyote definitely in pain right now. The bomb does connect with no way of cleansing it whatsoever. There is the detonation,
oh, wow.
the damage, and now Diana is down to about 20%. Cardinal, what can you do?
Yeah, just going for the sword rain is going to get some good value out of that one.
Some pretty little debuffs. Got that attack speed slow on the enemy's AoE. Okeanos, of course, going to be looking to fire back with Rain of Stones, but he misses water every time.
Yeah, but we are going to see the lockdown against the Diana, of course, and now that monster is out for Icedcoyote, down in numbers.
Gigantic Roar is going to be there, grabbing 3 armor breaks for Krom'z, and the Sierra proc. Everything is going well for Krom'z right now.
Krom'z, just everything lining up. It's all falling in place as he continues to put the pressure on against Icedcoyote back to back to back.
When you have a Okeanos being pretty consistent, and you have a Sierra being pretty consistent, the additional turns, the bombs, when everything is going right, it is definitely hard to come back out from that deficit if you are Icedcoyote. He is looking to grab the Beast Rider off of the Beastborn, but at this point, it is all up to the more damage, and the Dragon Stance only grabbing 1 stun.
Yeah, not too much out of that, but you still have to hope that there's something coming up for Icedcoyote in terms of damage because he's so behind. The Molong might not get another chance, though.
Yeah, the Molong is definitely looking real unhealthy. One more punch out of the Savannah. Critical spear throw, and he is going to go down. And look at the fate of destruction. Sierra just so consistent today.
Yeah, this Sierra has had ultimate value for Krom'z, just being able to cycle through everything. And there you go, as you called it, pops the last monster, and it's going to be Krom'z with a easy victory here in game 1 of the best of 3 between these two players for Group B in the APAC preliminaries.
It feels like the main monster that we're looking at in the Group B is Okeanos, because we have seen this unit almost every single round.
Yeah, Okeano is, I mean, pretty frequent in Group A as well, but remember, we said, just not as consistent as you'd want him to be so far in Group B, getting out decent enough value even when he doesn't. He's been paired with the Ganymede before in the previous matches. We'll see if Okeanos continues to be the prime monster here in this matchup. It is a best of 3. Krom'z leading 1-0 in match 3 of Group B. Of course, the pre-bans cannot be repeated, so we will see those monsters go through. Very curious if Icedcoyote is going to pick up that Volantis, but we'll have to wait for the pre-bans first.
Absolutely, Volantis is a unit that we will always be very happy to see because it has such an exciting mechanism built into its kit. Both players definitely taking their time this time around for the pre-bans to come out. Molong pre-ban, very consistent. Lulu pre-ban, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, the Lulu pre-ban, you just don't want to have to deal with it, right? It's not necessarily the strongest monster, but it's just something that you have to worry about so much and can throw all your plans out the window if you don't get that lockdown. So Icedcoyote with the first pick will be picking up that Chungpong.
Chungpong, this is a unit we've seen a lot, and we've seen what he can do when his skill 3 is enabled, and he just constantly grabs more turns for your team, utilizing the attack bar decrease. And at this point, we are seeing a Barbara Volantis combo.
Okay, so the Volantis coming through as we might have suspected given his history so far for Icedcoyote, and then the Barbara coming out as well. Not specifically what we might have predicted, but it is the composition so far that he will go with here in Game 2 as he tries to make a comeback in this best of 3.
There is the Diana for Krom'z. At this point, whenever I see Diana, I feel like they're just going to have a really good advantage throughout the match. Diana has been really shining in this meta as of late. Of course, going to be really powerful, especially against the Barbara, as well as we see Icedcoyote bringing up something different. Maybe a Tableau, maybe a Chibu.
All right. The Tableau gonna be locked in as well as the Chiu. We saw the Chiu considered a little bit in Group A as well, but I think a lot of players still rating Chiu very highly as a monster, but the Tableau, definitely not that common.
Indeed, not that common, as we see Leo as the answer to the Tableau. I believe Leo is going to be the ban for Icedcoyote. So we're going to be seeing if the Chiwu, the Volantis setup, is going to be enough for Icedcoyote to go through the shield, the thick shield that is Diana.
Okay, well, this is Group B. It is match 3. Currently, Krom'z up 1-0 in this best of 3. Icedcoyote trying to make it back in this series.
Very fast Barbara, and now Chiwu's gonna follow up with the attack bar boost out of Barbara, and here comes the glancing. No stuns, but the provoke was there, and the shield is of course gonna be so unfortunate for Icedcoyote. It's gonna be a lot harder to take down units now.
Yeah, you mentioned the shield as we were getting into the game, and it just provides so... Oh, wow!
So much shield, but so much damage is what Barbara says. As we see now, Volantis coming back with some AoE dots, some damage. It is very devastating. But now Krom'z has a chance to move. He's got that glancing debuff on Carnal. So whether or not he opts for skill 3, he chooses not to. Okay. That's a good move. I like it.
Yeah, just playing it a bit safer, of course, with that glancing. Not going to be...
But now...
Okay.
Sword Rain.
Yeah. I mean, we see why he wanted to avoid that the first time around. But, of course, when you're given the chance, you go for it. Doesn't work out so well.
But there's the Pew Pew down, the inevitable wound. All these Dianas today in Group B are dishing out so much damage. 4K onto the Barbara. And now Pony is looking for the stun, which connects into a prop.
Oh my gosh, Krom'z, the Diana is getting full value today, eliminates Barbara, and just continues to rail against Icedcoyote.
Welcome to the Pee Pee Town is what Diana says. That horse is absolutely popping off, I was gonna say.
Until she has to go to sleep. She's a little tired.
Yeah.
You know, after all that damage, does need to take a break.
But the question is, will it be enough at this point? Chiwoo is looking for the damage onto the armor break. 9,000 is definitely going to be a lot of damage. Volantis with the nature skill, grabbing some control, grabbing some damage. Here's the sleeve attack, and Xere goes down. Unlucky 7 looking for the stun, does not get the stun. But Diana, what can you do with glancing?
Yeah, this is already a lot against Krom'z. She's just going to put up the shield. Okay, has another chance.
Crazy Pony looking for the pew pew angle, but of course she's gonna have to wait till next turn. The dots are gonna get stacked out by the Volantis. The shield being gone means Diana. Are you?
Okay, Tableau not quite strong enough to finish the job, but there's just so many debuffs up against Krom'z. Those dots, the continuous damage is going to finish the job as well.
Yeah, the continuous damage so strong. After all, this is what Rika is known for, right? Volantis, he is not like as scary when you think about just dots, but he's actually gonna do so much more dots than you would expect, and you see it work out for Icedcoyote.
Okay, so Icedcoyote brings it back. We have a series on our hands. Wins game 2 up against Krom'z, and it is now tied 1-1 in this best of 3. This is match 3 in Group B of the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021.
I feel like that match has showed why Krom'z wanted to ban out the Volantis in match number 1, because he knew that when that unit is left uncontested, it can do some crazy things. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that pre-ban coming out of Krom'z. And of course, Coyote. Will he still ban the Artemio, given that Krom'z didn't opt for it last game?
Yeah, the Artemio was a bit out of left field. I mean, the Volantis, we knew that Icedcoyote favored this monster, and now we've seen the power of it. Krom'z has said, most likely, and has said, yeah, I definitely want to pre-ban that again. I'd be very surprised if it was something else. Okay, so the Volantis does return, but now it's going to be the Jogun pre-ban against Krom'z.
Definitely what we expected to see. Artemio pre-ban, as we pointed out, didn't seem perhaps too necessary at this point. But of course, if Coyote picks up the Diana early on, Krom'z can respond with the Artemio as a way to deal with the Diana. As we see, before we get to that part, of course, the more consistent and usual meta units being traded at this point. And of course, if you're Icedcoyote, you would be thinking, do I go for Diana? But no, he goes for Chiwoo and Barbara instead.
Okay, so Barbara returns, Chiwoo returns for Icedcoyote. They held their ground in game 2, bringing him to this game 3, tying it up 1-1. Both players wanting to win this third game so they can move on in the winner's bracket and try to secure that first spot to the APAC Cup. Krom'z now looking at that Diana once again.
Yeah, I mean, the Diana pick has been very consistent, as we see another consistent unit. This is one of my personal favorites. This unit has so much sustain, so much control. She is definitely the highlight of the match for me, which is going to be Illusia's Second Awakening. I am definitely scared for Coyote right now, because if Illusia gets the skill 3 onto Barbara, there is not going to be much damage, which is why Coyote brings another damage dealer, Belinus.
Okay, going for another Druid. This time it's going to be Belinus, as you mentioned, Peter. So Coyote is going to be somewhat prepared, but you mentioned it. Krom'z' lineup is looking pretty scary. The Lulu's still going to be the ban against Krom'z. Don't want to deal with that. Krom'z going to take out Chung Peng on the other side. And now we are ready for game number 3. The winner here will move on to the winner's bracket of Group B. The loser has to wait until tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, game 3 between Icedcoyote and Krom'z.
Both players had speed leaders, so they both had a chance to grab the first turn, but Coyote's Barbara was just too fast. And Diana with the attack bar now, she's going to be able to put up the shield, but of course, we are looking, all eyes locked on to Belinus at this point. The armor breaks connect, and the attack bar is there, but Okeanos with the prop!
Oh my gosh, Okeanos is going to be able to do it, put stuns on everyone against Icedcoyote, flips it right back around.
That was so devastating, because Belinus was about to get his skill 2 off, but the Oki is there. This Oki is absolutely crazy, just cycling through his cooldowns.
This Okeanos is probably the strongest showing we've seen out of Okeanos so far in the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. Krom'z off to an amazing start here in Game 3.
You can tell that Icedcoyote is like, this is not what I planned. I'm pretty sure that wasn't supposed to happen, because now
oh, man.
he's not sure how to come back at this point.
It looks very, very rough. As you mentioned, Peter, I mean, there was a plan for Icedcoyote, and now it's been ripped to shreds single-handedly by the Okeanos as we see the bombs coming out from Xere.
Not a single time have I seen today Fate of Destruction missing. Maybe today is Xere Day. Everyone right now should be picking Xere because she is popping off.
Absolutely. Diana's turn now returns for Krom'z. Going to transform.
That is going to be a dead Barbara, of course. The Barbara is way too squishy within her human form. And at this point, another Fate of Destruction just connects.
Goodness. All right, Xere getting all the value. Okeanos getting all the value. Krom'z is just absolutely joyous as he takes the lead here in this game. It looks like it's all but done. The bomb goes off against Carnal, and there you go. The GG is called. Krom'z takes it 2-1 in this match to move on in the winner's bracket for Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
This match, I really feel for Coyote because I'm sure he's thinking the same thing as me. What would have happened if Belinus got the turn instead there? We could have had a completely different match.
Yes, as you mentioned, Belinus was ready to unleash, and Okeanos just says, no, I will shut all of it down, and is able to land all 4 stuns as well. I mean, again, probably the greatest showing of Okeanos we've seen so far in these preliminaries, and Krom'z is going to win off the back of it as we take a look at some highlights.
Chobra approved Okeanos, ladies and gentlemen. That is definitely something that I am impressed by as we see some of the replay into Krom'z on round 1. Okeanos was there, providing enough damage and control that he needed, and Xere and Barbara was there to do the after cleaning duty.
Yeah, and then we moved on to game 2. This is where Icedcoyote did answer back, especially with that Volantis.
Volantis show indeed. The dots were connecting, and eventually the Diana, she was trying so hard to make a comeback, but the Volantis just too strong.
Yeah, so much continuous damage towards the end. You can see it right there on everybody, and it does finish the job. So Icedcoyote tries to tie it back, but Krom'z answers back here in game 3.
Answers back indeed. This is where everything went wrong for Coyote.
Oh,
the
boy.
second Belinus sat down. That's when it was like, I didn't tell you to sit. They're supposed to attack.
Just went right back to the bench and took a little break. And Okeanos says, thank you very much. I'm going to continue my attack, continue my onslaught as Krom'z wins 2-1 to move on in the winner's bracket. So Krom'z will be moving on to the winner's semifinals here in the APAC preliminaries Group B for SWC 2021. You know, we were talking about what if it's all sweeps again today, Peter, on the first day. Well, finally, Icedcoyote is able to bring it to a series, but Krom'z shuts it down instantly as he moves on.
Instantly shut down indeed. The Okeanos has been a pretty crucial part of the shutdown from Krom'z. And it seems like we're just going to be seeing Okeanos again and again. So I'm sure players right now are ransacking through their brain, looking for a way to counter this guy. Like, there's some old school counters like Josephine.
Okay,
but I don't think we'll be seeing that. So they got to think of something.
We're definitely going to see Okeanos just through and through. I think we've seen it pretty much all the way through Group A, definitely every time so far here in Group B. And it just seems to be one of these monsters where no player wants to use a pre-ban on the monster, but it's providing enough value that you now have to consider, well, do I have an answer for it? Well, we'll have to find out if that happens in match number 4, the last quarterfinals in the winner's bracket for Group B of the APAC preliminaries. First up, it is BabyDarkness making his first debut here for SWC.
BabyDarkness, another player that loves his Ganny Oki combo. Of course, Gianna and Waterview there is going to be the cherry on top. His comp is going to be really oriented towards CC just based on this screen. But of course, he can try to bring something new. Gianna's a very flexible unit in that.
Yeah, Gianna, of course, just having so much strength on her own to provide around many different team comps as we've seen. BabyDarkness, will you get to have your fun with the CC comps? We'll have to see as you go up against Hong KFC on the other side here in this last quarterfinals.
That's your favorite, Chobra. I know you mentioned that you like his name.
Listen, there's something in a name, okay? If you're going to be a name on a global stage, you got to pander to the people. And Hong KFC, I love what that sounds like.
Absolutely. I love it too. Hong KFC, this guy is no stranger to these high-level tournaments. He has been there always, showing up with very strong strategies of his own. And he said that he loves Tableau. It's one of his go-to units, and that to me really stands out because every time we see a Tableau, we expect something crazy.
We just saw a Tableau earlier as well. I was kind of surprised because, as you mentioned, it was Hong KFC who said in his profile interview that he really likes Tableau, so we'll see if that monster returns. Of course, we saw there on his profile in terms of actual statistics, Moore being a very, very favored pick for Hong KFC, and that has been a monster we've seen often so far in day one of Group B. We're in the first game here between these two players in a best of three. The Water Ryu gonna be banned out, and then the Lulu and Friends banned out for Hong KFC.
I don't know what it is about seeing Lulu pre-ban, but it just makes me calm. It makes me feel soothing at heart.
Okay, I can respect it. I mean, it takes a lot of attention, that Lulu and Friends, as we see the picks coming through. Gianna going to be picked up by Hong KFC first.
Speaking of attention, my eyes are on Charlotte right now. This is the first debut for Charlotte. This is going to be very interesting to see how it works with Asima and Poseidon, excuse me.
Wow. Oh, BabyDarkness just coming out swinging here in game one. Isn't hiding anything. Wants to kick it off with his own style. We're looking at some stats for Gianna, of course. A very, very strong monster that a lot of people are used to. 58%, that's a pretty good statistics. Of course, not too many games, but a healthy enough amount.
Hong KFC recognizing what his opponent is doing. He brings some speed leaders of his own through to Samath and Xere. Of course, Yeonhong has a really crazy base speed, so that can be a unit that is going to be a target of worry for BabyDarkness as he rounds out his lineup with Gemini. Chiwoo being banned does mean BabyDarkness is now completely relying on his swift sets at this point. The Charlotte, how fast is it? Yeonhong and Gianna, how fast are they? That is the question we are looking at going into this game.
Okay, game one in this best of three, the last quarterfinals of Group B in the APAC preliminaries. It's Hong KFC kicking things off.
Gianna not as consistent as Xere, missing the Fate of Destruction. Of course, a bit of a strategy out of BabyDarkness does mean there was no immunity, so Gianna could not stun. So now he has an option to try to come back, but the glancing, will it get in the way? As we see Poseidon landing out the damage, the control, the crumble is here for Asima. Samath with the counter back, and now his skill 2 is ready to go. And look at the stuns!
Oh my gosh, so swift on both sides. Tons of damage being unleashed as the Samath comes back and tries to even the board.
The glancing is doing so much work for Hong KFC right now. Samath is looking to try to sweep some of these monsters that are so very low on HP. And the stun!
Samath being consistent. Gianna kicked things off without being able to put the bomb on, but the Samath comes through.
Xere is here today to once again say, today is my day.
Wow.
Another Fate of Destruction. You get a bomb, everyone. Oh.
Okay, well, Xere wanted to give 4 bombs out. Just will finish the job on her own. Doesn't need the bomb, and there you go, the GG out. Hong KFC taking that first game, and oh wow, Peter, that was just instant damage coming out from both sides, but Hong KFC gets the last lap.
So I feel like what was the most crucial turning point of that match was BabyDarkness. He expected a Gianna from Hong KFC. That's why he came in with the strategy. He had no immunity, and you wanted to grab the turn right after Gianna. But unfortunately, what is that Haegang Hong KFC? Why in the world is it so fast? Because the second the glancing hits were landed, he was lacking damage at that point.
So much just done against BabyDarkness, as you mentioned, and you called it. I mean, BabyDarkness, he came with a plan. You've talked about it before, where okay, you intentionally say if there's a Gianna on their side, I'll play around it, around that turn 1, but unfortunately not able to secure the very next turn, and Hong KFC absolutely punishes him for that. So we're going to look at the pre-bans this time around. Yeonhong pre-banned for BabyDarkness, and Gianna going to be taken out by Hong KFC himself.
So we are seeing a bit more of a casual, a more normal lineup out of BabyDarkness this time. But
okay,
Charlotte seems to be a definition of normal for BabyDarkness. As we see it, second game, he is unfazed by the first game's loss. As we see now, the double Artmaster combo out of Hong KFC.
Haegang and Chongpeng. We see a lot of these Art Masters comboing together, just providing so much value when they're stacked up on top of each other. BabyDarkness really wants to show his own flavor here in the APAC preliminaries.
He is not afraid to stick to his playstyle. He is here for the turn one as he locks in the Triton. Crazy base speed. That is definitely going to be really helpful for him. Tyron grabbing the extra speed leader, some additional CC as well. Hong KFC right now, he is locking in potentially the Xere, who has also a crazy base speed. So both players putting a lot of emphasis right now on grabbing that turn.
Well, the competition for that turn one once again online for BabyDarkness and Hong KFC. BabyDarkness down 0-1 in this best of three. He wants to win it, wants to stay alive in the winner's bracket. You don't want to have to get knocked down from the get-go. Hong KFC, meanwhile, on match point as we see the bans come out. It is going to be Charlotte and Xere. Now, Hong KFC, can he win it? 2-0 against BabyDarkness in this winners quarterfinals in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
Hong KFC has two forms of interruption right now in the Haegang and the Water Ryu. Here he goes, more looking for some of the skill to control. And here comes a rolling spin, grabbing some attack bar for Hong KFC. And now look at him, Hong KFC has the turns, he's got the bombs, and it connects, and boom goes Okeanos.
Okeanos today, you were doing well so far, but not in this game as we see the bombs go off, and that is going to be the finishing job against Okeanos.
What can you do at this point if you're BabyDarkness? You just got controlled down by the Moor before you even got a turn.
And now the attack bars, of course, all back down to 0, slowly trying to creep back into the game. But I don't think Hong KFC has any plans to give him a single chance. There you go. BabyDarkness accepts the dark fate as Hong KFC wins it 2-0 in his winners quarterfinals for Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
What a clean gameplay from Hong KFC. He was not afraid of his opponent running these really crazy comps around Charlotte. He knew he had the Swift Ruins, and oh boy, was he fast.
The speed contention, Hong KFC not fazed by it at all, both in Game 1 and Game 2. I mean, even in Game 1, right off the back of that Gianna, making sure that he retains that speed and has control of the entire game. And then in Game 2, you called it in the draft, both players trying to go for those early turns, but Hong KFC comes out on top and just shuts down BabyDarkness before he can do anything.
Yeah, so the Triton being there was a way for BabyDarkness to be like, I am not too scared of your interruption from Haegang, but of course Water Ryu, he just doesn't get like a little bit of attack bar. He gets full attack bar whenever he's hit. And of course, if that skill to connect with the attack bar absorption, it now allows units like Xere to move. And the second the bomb landed, that was over.
Yeah, the bombs have been so consistent today for Xere, as you've mentioned before, Peter, and that just shuts down any sort of plan from BabyDarkness. Of course, locking down the Okeanos and being able to finish the job. Well, let's take a look at the highlights of this quick 2-0 from Hong KFC.
We see the Maelstrom out of Poseidon, followed up by the Asima, but just the damage wasn't there. He was missing just a tiny bit, but that tiny bit was enough to snowball the match in favor of Hong KFC. And match number 2. This is where you're just seeing basically the downfall of BabyDarkness. The second this scene has played out, things were looking pretty grim.
Both games, Peter, it revolved around that single moment where BabyDarkness just not able to secure, whether it's the extra turn that he needed or the damage that he needed to really finish the job, and Hong KFC ready to punish in both games. So Hong KFC will be moving on here in the winners bracket for Group B of the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. That means we have winners semifinals coming up today. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, the players who lost today, they're not eliminated just yet. It is double elimination. They will return tomorrow in the losers bracket. But the winner semifinals, Diligent versus Xere, Krom'z versus Hong KFC. And given how dominant these winners have been today in Group B, these semifinals look to be fireworks, Peter, coming up later today.
Absolutely, fireworks indeed. We're hoping for a lot more blood, and I do think we have good way, like a good chance at getting some of that blood.
Yeah, it's been pretty devastating whenever these winners have been popping off today in Group B, and now when they face each other, now that you've seen what they've prepared here for the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021, what's it going to look like? Well, of course, for all of you at home, we do have some codes ready for you once again. Today, the first code is going to be Group B 2021 Hello. That's pretty straightforward. I don't have to explain anything further to you guys. This is just Group B here for the APAC preliminaries. Hello to all of you at home, and I hope you guys are enjoying the matches so far. Hope you enjoy the code below as you're watching the tournament. But SWC 2021, I mean, just with the APAC preliminaries that we're bringing you here from Korea, this has been an exciting tournament so far.
Definitely exciting, and I am most thrilled to see that we have really been seeing a lot of diverse strategies between Group A and Group B. They're completely different, living in two different patches of Summoner's War. We have here Okeanos Diana ruling the world. On the other field, we had Ungyoki and his brothers.
The Onimushas were just popping off in Group A. So much damage from them. Of course, we have other events coming up for Summoner's War as well. For all of you at home, make sure you tune in on August 8th for Summoner's War Lost Centuria. It's going to be event match, the World Showdown. So don't miss it. It's only a few days away now as we are entering August soon enough. And that should be another joyous event for the Summoner's War universe as we also continue this road to SWC 2021. Of course, the APAC preliminaries, we're going all the way through the end of August. We don't have any plans to slow down.
Yeah, we are going to go full stride ahead, and if even today we still have a lot of action left, and just looking at some of the names of the upcoming matches, I can tell we're going to be seeing a lot more potential bruisers as a response to the CC this time.
I love it. I love the bruisers. I want that just nitty-gritty damage coming out, those 1v1s down to the wire. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's the winner semifinals of Group B and the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021.
Wanted to bring to your attention again, absolutely every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You want to see a soft Ciara getting hit by Frogmoon. Look at When you get that full team strip attack our first guy.
He did not pull the Champang yet. I would have thought I would see Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Okay, here we go. Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
Wanted to bring to your attention again, as we do every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You want to see a soft Ciara getting hit by Krom'z. Looking to get that full team strip attack our first guy.
He did not pull a Champang yet. I would have thought I would see Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's the 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
Welcome back, everyone, to the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. As we watch these players try to challenge the world, we are now moving on to the winners semifinals of Group B for the APAC preliminaries. The first matchup will be Diligent versus Xere. We saw Diligent earlier today with a swift 2-0 against Silent Control, Peter.
A swift 2-0 indeed. The CC control was very consistent. A lot of clean gameplay overall from Diligent, which is actually one of the things he is most proud of about himself. He knows he's there. He's a very calculating player, and he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. It goes to show why 4 of these other opponents in this group named him as the scariest player in Group B. Well, this time going up against him is going to be Xere, who also had a very, very strong showing against RememberYS.
Very strong showing, especially with the Beelzebub. This unit, so far, I don't think I've seen even one instance where that unit was locked down successfully.
That's true. Yeah, we saw it briefly in Group A, and it still had some very solid success. Beelzebub, of course, just changing how you have to play around that monster entirely. One of those monsters that can really throw off your entire plan. We'll see. Diligent, how scared of the Beelzebub are you? Is it to the point where you pre-ban it? I mean, do you just have an answer? So far, Diligent has shown us he's got answers for all these different situations. We'll see what happens as we get into the draft for game number 1, a best of 3 winners semifinals between these two players in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
Talking about answers, right? Diligent so far, he knows that Xere has the Pontos available. That is kind of like the hidden card of Xere that we have not seen too much as of yet. But of course, it is always there available, and it's a very powerful pick. But for now, it is going to be the Ragdoll and Tianlang pre-ban.
Going for a bit more of a standard pre-ban with the Ragdoll, Tianlang being banned out against Diligent. Of course, Diligent showed that monster earlier today as well. Diligent gonna kick things off with the Okeanos, who's had generally very much success in Group B. Xere answers with the Fire Bison and Lulu and Friends.
Pretty normal thing so far, right?
Yes.
We have seen this happen again and again, and there's some stats on the screen showing why this always happens.
Wow.
Lulu with the 60%.
Very, very high. Also, the most picked monster we've had so far in the APAC preliminaries. Oh, wow. Ganymede actually at 80%. I wasn't expecting that. Not picked as much, but 8 wins, only 2 losses. Quite successful as it was picked up by Diligent alongside the Moor.
That is a very surprising turnaround because last year, Ganny's win rate was down in the dirt, but this year, he is showing up with a lot of these combos in between Ventilate, Seal Magic, and now Xere is bringing in a team comp that we have seen very similar, utilized against YS earlier, and it has been the bane for all these CC comps, but Han
making an appearance for Diligent. We've seen Diligent utilize this monster quite well before. Brings it out here for the Group B APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021.
Oh!
Finally, we were talking about the Onimusha showing so much power in Group A. Are we going to see the first one of Group B as we look at Kinky being considered here for Xere?
So what's funny about Kinky is that players have called this unit to be basically one of the only natural 6-stars in the game, because that's how crazy he is. So definitely excited just as much as you are, Chopra, to be seeing that monster back today here in Group B. But goodbye, excitement.
Okay, all right. Well, it's out. I mean, very, very reasonable post-ban here for both sides. Diligent going to be banning out that Kinky, and the Chung Pung eliminated as Xere takes it out of Diligent's picks. This is going to be the first game in a best-of-3 winner semifinals between these two players in Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
Kinky's presence is going to be very short-lived, but Han is here to stick, and we see a very tanky Han. He is sitting there with so much HP, even after the strike from Leo and the fantastic strip coming out of Moore, setting up the Okeanos right now, but the opponent has double water, which he stunned both of them.
Wow, so far, I mean, we've seen the Okeanos consistent, but not against water, but this time around, Diligent makes it happen with his Okeanos.
What is going on with Oki today? This guy is absolutely in the spotlight as we see Han now. He's looking for skill 3, the armor break, the damage, the follow-up, and here it is. It lands the armor break, and look at him go. The turn comes back with the attack bar. He can follow up now with skill 2 onto Bison for the stun, or just go for the kill.
Gets the kill onto Annabelle. She's out of the game. Diligent already with a numbers advantage, just goes for the attack onto Lulu.
At this point, with Lulu being reset, there is not much response from Xere at this point, especially when the Bison is reset as well. The additional turn gonna be fortunate for Xere, but look at Han. He is just one turn away from skill 3 and making a unit go away again.
Diligent feeling so solid, of course. Earlier we had the Ventolin, and there comes the Rain of Stones. Stuns on everyone once again. Xere just cannot do anything.
Okeanos rocking some shiny runes right now, absolutely popping off with the accuracy, and Gani, he is one turn away from more control. Lulu, of course, does not have any skills due to the reset, and now Han, he's just gonna take a pick. He has 3 options available. I pick you, and you die.
Well, here we go. It's going to be Lulu and friends brought all the way down, but of course the attack bar fills up off of that skill 3. Okay, this time going for the stun onto the Fire and Bison.
And we see the Moore just following up with the damage, and Bison is locked down to the maximum, and we see now Leo trying to bring this match back for Xere, but can he?
I don't know. So little damage being done. This Han is so tanky. This Leo, I mean, we've seen the Dragon Knights all on their own strength do crazy things, but right now I don't see it happening for Xere.
Very smart usage of Ventilate from Diligent. He's looking for the solution onto Leo as he lands the armor break, and look at him go!
Oh my gosh, Han used to perfection here for Diligent as they get the final kill against Xere, and that is going to be a 1-0 win for Diligent in the winner's semifinals of Group B.
Diligent, showing why he loves that Oki. He knows his Oki is different from every other Okeanos. And of course, when Oki is getting the job done on water, all Han has to do is put a spoon on top of a finished table, do some skill 3s, and it's already game over.
Diligent's Okeanos is just built different, man. This is insane. I mean, the stuns onto the water. I mean, until now, it was so consistent, except for the water units, kind of understandable. And then Diligent comes in, stuns both water units. As you mentioned, Han just there to finish the job and able to cycle through and get all these kills. Well, now we are going into game number 2, Peter. Xere needs to have an answer if he wants to stay alive in this winner's bracket.
An answer Xere needs indeed, and to be honest, I am not sure what that answer is going to be as of now, but I wouldn't be too surprised to potentially see a little bit of a Pontos mix-up in there, because that is a very strong unit, especially in terms of defensive usage.
Yeah, something we discussed during that break, you mentioned, Peter, is that there seems to be a lot more all-inning focus here from these players, just trying to go for their own damage. Do we see that start to shift away as we look at the pre-bans? It's Cardinal and Chung Peng coming out from Diligent and Xere, respectively, now going into the picks here for Game 2.
And now we get into the first pick coming out of Xere. He is taking some time to think about it. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Okeanos, Sierra, Lulu and Friends, Molong. I can go on and on about all these units we keep seeing.
Lulu going to still be the pick, so the Oki and now Gani combo just being picked up right away by Diligent. Diligent doesn't hesitate. He doesn't really need to change anything. He's in the lead 1-0. He's feeling good about his monster so far.
Absolutely. Okigani, we've seen this combo be so strong when utilized together especially. And of course now Xere thinking about the Anvil again. Anvil and Lulu were his go-to picks against CC. It's worked out once, it's failed him the other time, but he's giving it a third chance, and Ragdoll there, of course, is going to make Xere feel a lot more confident.
Coming off of that pre-ban is going to be that Ragdoll 71%.
Look at that. What am I looking at? This is the only unit with above 70%.
10 wins. Wow. It goes to show why it's pre-banned so often. Just such a strong unit. Diligent going to be answering back with his own Tianlong, which was pre-banned in that first game, and then the Gianna for his 4th pick.
So the Tianlong is there to make sure that Ragdoll's passive is not grabbing too much value for Xere, as we see a potential Water Lich comboed with the Fire Monkey. Xere, he's saying, I do not care about your CC. I got damage for days.
Okay, so some sort of answer here for Xere. Is it going to pay off is the big question as he switches things up. As you mentioned, the Water Lich, definitely a big surprise, and the Fire Monkey as well. Well, all picks are now set and done for both players. We are waiting on the postbans.
Rigel and Meihu Wang. What a scary duo, especially for Diligent, but of course the Asima last pick brings too much damage for units like these to survive. So Xere does ban out the Asima, and Lulu being banned out for Diligent is gonna give him some more of a relief knowing that he's only got to reset the Anvil. But the question is, does Gianna, Tianlang, and Oki provide enough damage to take out the Bruisers? It is going to be a match between CC Spear versus Damage Shield.
Okay, Diligent versus Xere. It is game number 2. Diligent leading 1-0 in this match for Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
Gianna grabbing the first turn, as we see very commonly, looking for a potential bomb onto Anvil, which does connect. As we see now, bit of a pause.
Okay.
As we see Gianna looking for the turns right now. If he does skill 3, it gives too much attack bar over to the enemy, so he opts for the skill 1 instead. And now Tianlang, same story. If you go for AoE, it gives too much attack bar. So very smartly played by Diligent. Now he is looking for the reset onto Anvil, and it lands.
Oh, so Diligent smartly working around what he has to against Xere and getting the attacks he wants onto that Anvil.
So by resetting Anvil and Rigel, he has taken out 2 forms of Armor Break. The only one left now is going to be the Meihu Wang. Ragdoll looking to pile some damage onto Gianna, as she is now sitting at pretty much half HP. Tianlang spreading the Armor Breaks ever so consistently. And now Gianna, you're looking very unhealthy.
Yeah, Gianna, the continuous damage ticking away as well, so in a bit of danger. Rain of Stones comes out.
And of course, those 2 units on the left, Meihu Wang and Rigel, are both immune to CC, so they cannot get locked down. But Anvil, even if she doesn't get stunned, she doesn't have any cleanse available, so she is pretty much dead meat. And now Ganymede looking for a potential ventilate angle, but of course, Okeanos being stunned is going to be a huge pain in the butt for him.
The stun onto Okeanos, of course, keeping him locked down. So far, Diligent, he's working around what he can, but Xere's answers seem to be quite a thorn in his side as the Meihu Wang continue to put out those counters as well for some chip damage.
Keep in mind, the more you hit Meihu Wang, the stronger he gets. You can see he's got 10 stacks right now. This is a fully stacked monkey looking for the wand, and we see the damage slightly lacking, but Gianna's going to go down very soon.
Gianna not taken out completely, but as you mentioned, not living for long either. Just trying to do what she can before she goes out. Does get a bomb onto Rigel.
And that one move she did before she died is going to be huge. Before, it seemed like Diligent was going to struggle taking down this Rigel, but the bomb with the damage is going to be potentially enough. Now Rigel trying to set up a potential armor break before he goes down, or just going for Gianna. It doesn't really matter. He goes for Gianna here, and now at this point, all eyes are on the bomb. Can Rigel survive? And also Meihu Wang, do you have what it takes as a 10-stack monkey with the stun?
Gets the stun onto Okeanos. Now the torrent coming out also gets the stun onto Tianlang.
Despite the glancing, this Meihu Wang is always there with the stun. Diligent, not able to grab the turn on his Oki, but this will finally be his moment as Seal Magic gives him a great advantage over the attack bars. And now we see Okeanos moving, Rain of Stones doing some good damage, and
Rigel still lives with a sliver of health!
Look at him trying to vamp up whatever he can. Ganny, of course, looking to go for the kill as finally he goes down. Tianlang going for Dragon's Dance, going for damage, but it is going to be not enough. Meihu Wang, he is sitting on 1 turn before he's got the skill 2. Okeanos has Spear of Devastation. He's going for the damage, and it's going to be a 1v2.
Okay, Ragdoll versus the 2 remaining monsters on the side of Diligent.
The glancing is there, but the torrent is available. Ragdoll is looking for the one-shot. He is preying on the crit, but he lands the kill anyways. Now Ganny with the Seal Magic does 3,000. The attack bar reduction is too much for
Oh,
Ragdoll right
man.
now.
Oh, Ganymede is going to win it out right at the end, and Diligent will be taking a 2-0 victory against Xere. Peter, you talked about Diligent. You said how he mentioned that he knows he is a very clean and calculating player. We saw that come out here in this game too.
Absolutely. It's really smartly played by Diligent. Very patient, waiting on his turns, right? He was giving Ventilate always to the right unit, and he was getting a bit thrown off by the random Mei Huang stuns, but he knew he can survive anyways, and once Okeanos got the turn, that was pretty much all he needed, and the damage was there.
Just calm and collected, really going with his own name and the style that he prefers, is really thinking everything through in each and every matchup. Diligent, I mean, working around all these kind of wild cards that are being thrown at him from the side of Xere, is able to come out with a 2-0 victory, and once again proves why all these opponents feared him the most in Group B.
Absolutely. I definitely feel like Diligent, his units are just something's different about them, because we've seen Xere's Anvil and Lulu combo be so successful, but not only for Xere, even in Group A, it was the bane of many players. But however, in this match one between Xere and Diligent, just look at the stuns. Okeanos had his job done, and at that point, it was all up to Han. Han was also landing the armor breaks. Diligent definitely has all the accuracy.
Diligent coming so well prepared, as you mentioned, with the accuracy. The monsters are just built different compared to when we see them on other players.
Yes, and now here, once Annabelle got locked down on turn 1, things were looking really rough for Xere at that point, sitting on no cleanse / healing whatsoever. And of course, once that Gianna bomb connected before she died, it did basically enough damage, which bought Diligent time. And time was a crucial factor of that match as we get to the 1v2. And if you just look at it, if Ragdoll got a couple more turns, Mei Huang, things could have been different.
That's very true. There was still a bit of hope for Xere, but Diligent is going to be one step ahead in finishing off those monsters, and Diligent will be taking the 2-0 victory here in the winner semifinals of Group B in the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. Diligent just reflecting everything thrown at him so far from all these different players, and now he awaits in the best of 5 in the winners finals to try to get that first spot into the APAC Cup here from Group B.
It definitely feels good to be piling the wins, especially as you get deeper and deeper into the tournament, because don't forget that we do have the losers match tomorrow. So even if you get knocked out, you have another chance. And today, the farther you go, the more farther you're going to be even tomorrow.
Yes, that's very true. That's a really good point you bring up, Peter. Of course, if you, for instance, make it all the way to the winners finals today, you just have to wait for that one best of 5 tomorrow for your second chance. You don't have to play against all these different players, try to go through a gauntlet to try to secure your spot. So Diligent already feeling very comfortable, right? Worst case scenario, he has to play another best of 5 tomorrow, but if he can win, he will be moving on to the APAC Cup. But we don't know his opponent just yet. To find out, we will be moving on to the next winner semifinals here in Group B of the APAC preliminaries. It's Krom'z versus Hong KFC, and both players had a pretty good showing. Of course, Krom'z, the only one who had to kind of fight tooth and nail in a 2-1 victory in his quarterfinals.
Absolutely. Definitely, it has been hard for him to take out his opponent, Icedcoyote, but we have seen that Krom'z, he is not afraid of coming back from deficits. He has utilized a new unit that we haven't seen much of, Lucia. And of course, a lot of calm surrounding the Diana Oki, and this guy is definitely a threat to be dealt with.
That Okeanos, we're seeing so much of him, and to such great success here in Group B. Will the trend continue? On the other side, it's going to be Hong KFC, who in fact didn't utilize Okeanos at all in his 2 games so far in Group B, so that's something to keep an eye on. Most likely going to be a pick for Krom'z, but Hong KFC, he came in with his own plans as well and shut down BabyDarkness.
One of the most outstanding things about Hong KFC is that this guy, he has insane swift sets. His monsters in general were very fast, so if you are Krom'z, you are sitting there a bit worried. Do I still want to try to outspeed Hong KFC, or will I opt for Lulu and Bison?
That's very true. We saw BabyDarkness have some plans to try to go against it, but Hong KFC just always one step ahead, either ready with the speed or able to cut in with his monsters and his draft. Well, we'll find out how it plays out. It is game number 1 in the second winner semifinals of Group B in the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. It's going to be Gianna and Barbara being the pre-bans for the first game.
Instantly pre-banned, no hesitation. Both players know what they got to take out from the opponent's lineup. As we see Krom'z with the first pick, it is going to swing, of course, some advantage potentially as he locks in one of our favorites, Okeanos.
Okeanos returns once again, this time for Krom'z, and Hong KFC not hesitating at all, answers right back with Ciara and Lulu. These are some quick picks coming through. It's going to be Ganny and then Chungpung for Krom'z.
Very strong CC lineup on the side of Krom'z. Hong KFC coming in with the Haegang again. This pick has worked fantastically for him, and even throughout the whole tournament, as we see a 66% win rate.
Pretty solid. I mean, if you can get over 50%, obviously you're already in the positives, but 66% is not bad at all. 6 wins, only 3 losses. Cardinal, of course, was the 4th pick for Hong KFC. Krom'z now looking for his last answers.
Last answer, Diana's always there to be that one monster you need. She's got the damage, she's got the tankiness to survive damage. She is definitely a all-in-one package. As we see, Hong KFC with basically a OG strategy, as we call it. Pick Rika when the opponent lacks immunity, and of course, Krom'z recognizes that and bans it.
Oh, we saw so much Rika success in Group A. I was hoping it would go through and we'd see some stun action coming out from that monster, but it will be banned out. As you mentioned, we're going in to game number 1 between Krom'z and Hong KFC in this best of 3 for Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
And here we have Haegang being so fast. We have seen that before. Diana going to be able to get some attack bar. She's got the shield angle available. Definitely going to be doing that instead of anything else, I would assume. And now Okeanos is sitting here with a glancing debuff. That could be definitely a big pain for Krom'z, as he is sitting here looking for the spear, and he lands it despite the glancing and grabs a potential turn for the Rain of Stones, but I don't know.
Yeah, that looks a bit iffy, of course, with still 2 immunity on the other side. So just going to let it pass with an attack. Now looking at Ciara.
Ciara looking for the Fate of Destruction angle. She has been consistent, and she proves herself yet again. The bomb connects, and he's going to detonate to make sure that the Chungpung cannot set up any more of the nasty nasties.
Ciara very, very consistent alongside Okeanos today. Wow, Sword Rain comes out from Cardinal.
Cardinal. I have not seen this unit this consistent with the stuns, but he is there with the quadruple debuffs, with the triple stun, but look at the proc.
Wow, okay, Ganymede now coming in for Krom'z. What can he do here?
What he can do, he's going to be decreasing the attack bar of his opponent as Chungpung now follows up with serious matter.
All right, well, it's quite a bit of value.
Onto Oki, and he gets it. That's exactly what he wanted, because Oki had the perfect setup, but Cardinal was able to interrupt. Now the question is, it does work out. It pays off.
All right, so yeah, the provoke, of course, just keeping him locked down, not able to do anything else with his skill set. Hong KFC, not too many options here with Lulu, just going to attack, gets another turn. She's probably going to do the same, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I am down for, of course, the skill 2 being utilized on herself, because that has been a play for many of these players to set them up for the next turn. She's got skill 3. You just want to make sure that she doesn't get locked down by the Chungpung. As Chungpung now sitting here with an angle on both skill 2 and skill 3. Skill 3 is going to be the choice, and look at the control.
Wow. Yeah, wow, the attack bar control, we saw it earlier on in the day, and it's coming to full strength once again, this time for Krom'z against Hong KFC.
Hong KFC, he has the Lulu for the backup. You look at the heals, and all of a sudden it seems like Krom'z is the only one that's been taking damage throughout the match. Okeanos has Rain of Stones, but he has not had a good angle throughout the whole match. Only 2 units are exposed.
This time still just gonna go for it, and out of that only gets 1 stun onto the Haegang.
Surprisingly misses the win, but lands on water. A little bit of a switch up from Oki, as we see Chungpung surviving with 1 HP. This could be very good, but of course Lulu is there to cleanse. That is very annoying for Krom'z, because she's just gonna use the skill 2, and one of them is gonna get completely...
Oh, okay. Just tries to go for the finish on Chungpung, doesn't get it. And now it's going to move on. Now we're looking at Ganny.
Yanni gets the reset, gets the attack bar, and now Okeanos looking to get more control down. The immunity gets stripped, and of course, Cardinal is now sitting there, just getting the finish off onto the unit on Krom'z' side.
Now, Chungpung now out, Hong KFC up in numbers. The Lulu still there as well to keep everyone nice and healthy.
Nice and healthy indeed. Right now, we need Diana to bring some damage for Krom'z. And of course, if you're Hong KFC, you're looking to try to keep the control down. But Diana, of course, is going to be able to get a turn now with the Pew Pew. Inevitable wound. And look at the damage.
Oh, so much damage. Just bringing Xere all the way down to be finished once back in unicorn form.
Ooh, that provoked into a turn means that he can use skill 2, absorb attack bar, and now all of a sudden move in front of Diana. So he's going to be able to set himself up for the skill 3. Very crucial for Cardinal right now. Sword Rain, and it doesn't get Diana though.
Doesn't get Diana, is going to get the finish, of course, on the Oki and
No
gets the
glancing.
stun.
This is scary because Diana, she's got another turn available. You definitely don't want to give Diana turns, especially this late into the game, but she's going to move anyways. And now this is where she needs to shine. The Pew Pews are coming out, and it's going to one-shot the opponent's Haegang. And now at this point, it is going to be a 2v2. Diana looking for the stun, gets resisted.
Doesn't get the stun. This could be a little dangerous. The provoke landing onto Diana from the Cardinal.
The provoke is definitely going to be troublesome for Diana. Lulu and friends grabbing some more sustain as we see another proc.
Another turn comes out, just going to shield to try to stay alive a bit longer here for Krom'z. I mean, is able to pass through on that provoke with that.
Trying to buy a little bit more time. He wants his Diana to stay alive, and at this point though, he is so exposed because he has no more immunity, no more healing. But look at Cardinal. He's sitting there, full HP, so scary, so strong.
Oh my gosh, and the provoke comes back as well. I mean, this is why the Lulu has been so feared by so many players, just keeps your team so healthy.
Healthy indeed. We look at Cardinal once again, just getting all the healing in the world, following up with Sword Rain. And at this point, it seems the shield was not enough. The attack speed slow is going to be too much as we see Cardinal moving ahead. Skill 2 just going to be the 1-2 boom bam punch he needs to take out the Diana, and it is looking very grim for Krom'z.
Yeah, once Diana is out, Krom'z not really having much damage to answer back, and Hong KFC will take the first victory in this winner's semifinals for Group B in the APAC preliminaries.
What a showing from our players. We are seeing a lot of back and forth. These players definitely are not going down easily.
Definitely not. That was probably one of the closer games we had at all today. So far, it's been pretty swift, right? It all revolved around one moment for each player. You know, if you were able to carry out your plans, you had the damage to finish them off. But this time around, a lot of back and forth and really revolving around those debuffs as well. Of course, that's where Lulu shines, being able to keep and sustain your teammates. So we'll see what Krom'z does about that as we get into the draft for game number 2.
You know, one thing I can't help but wonder about is, what if Diana just went for the damage instead? I feel
Instead of the shield?
Yeah, that was the only chance for Krom'z to really just try to pull something crazy. And once he let that opportunity go past, Diana really didn't get any more chances after that, so...
That is true. It is something that you always have to wonder, right? Sometimes you don't want to play it too safe. If you're already down to the wire, maybe you take a bigger risk. Krom'z perhaps wondering about that as well, but for now he has to move on as we are already in the draft for Game 2. We had Haegang and Lulu being pre-banned out from both sides, so we won't be seeing those monsters.
Hong KFC leading 1-0, feeling very confident right now in his draft. Xere, Moore, and Ganmead is going to be a very strong combo, very sustainable in the terms of CC and damage. And now for Krom'z, he's looking to try switching up his strategy a little bit. Fran and Savannah.
Fran coming out. We talked about this during the break as well, Peter. Just Group A, we saw a lot of players always answering back with their own sustain. Today, we seem to see a lot more focus on the CC and damage, but Krom'z now changing things up, going with the Fran for himself. Of course, the Lulu being pre-banned out by Hong KFC. now looking for his own last picks.
So Gianna is going to be a really good response to the Fran, but Hong KFC says, I got a bit of a Fran of my own, a red one.
Yeah, so Hong KFC answering back with his own changeups as well with the Chloe. We'll see how that pays off for him. Now, one last pick for Krom'z. It's going to be Chiwu.
Chiwu indeed. So now Krom'z, if you take a look at his lineup, he basically finalizes Calm, trying to set up for the Okeano Savannah and the Chungpong. And of course, Hong KFC noticing that, he takes out what sets up the field for them. And now we are going into the match. A bit of a speed leader advantage for Hong KFC, but the question is, will it do something?
Yeah, you always want to make sure you have... Oh, okay.
It does do something. There's the strip. There's the follow-up. Ganymede now has the Seal Magic angle. Takes out one of the biggest strippers for Krom'z. But now, Okeanos, this is where it really matters. Krom'z is brain right now on the Oki, please.
Oh, those aren't the words you wanted to see on the screen there. Hong KFC now has the turret with Ciara, and the bombs are still consistent.
Yes, the bombs are landing, and now Chloe just gonna put up a Fnatic, and we do see a Chloe runed on Violent Runes, so we're gonna be seeing that skill 3 cycle through more often than you would normally see. And now Fran is here, she's able to put up the cleanse for Savannah. Of course, Savannah Critical Link is gonna be very critical with dealing with Chloe's Fnatic buff.
So we'll see if that is able to come into play for Krom'z. Gianni just looking to do some damage.
Yeah, he really tried to go for the glancing there to make sure that the strip does not land, but that did not work out for him. And now we see Okeanos trying to cycle through his turns. And now the question is, will the Savannah be able to survive this onslaught of damage? Because once she goes down, Hong KFC, he only has more left.
Well, let's see if that comes true. Right now, we're looking at Krom'z just trying to keep things healthy.
Keep things healthy indeed, and he is succeeding with that, because now we see Savannah getting the gigantic roar. She was not dismounted before she can get that off. Of course, a little bit of some good luck heading in the direction of Hong. The reset was resisted from Chloe, and we see the Sierra being just finished off.
Oh, wow. Sierra now out for Hong KFC. Numbers advantage for Krom'z, and as you mentioned, the Savannah still riding on her beast. Gets the damage down onto more. And that is going to be the game. Krom'z is going to come in with a victory here in Game 2.
And that is why Pontos is considered the more premium version of Chloe. We've seen the difference of 1 turn invincibility and 2 turns, and just, it seems like Krom'z, his Savannah, right? She was tanky enough to survive the bomb, so she just got topped off by the Fran. But on the side of Hong KFC, he did not have the same answers in terms of sustain, and Sierra got taken out a little bit too fast for him.
Yeah, just wasn't quite enough sustain. Try to answer with what he had. Of course, the Lulu was pre-banned. Of course, Krom'z picking up the Fran for himself, and Hong KFC says, well, I have Chloe, doesn't quite make the cut. So now we are tied 1-1 going to Game 3 in this winners semifinals in Group B of the APAC preliminaries on our road to SWC 2021. It's going to be Gianna and Barbara once again returning as the pre-bans as we face match point.
There's a Lulu that we always love mentioning because she is just a nice sight to see, especially if you have her picked on your side. And now Hong KFC gonna respond with a very powerful and popular synergy today in between the Ganny and Oki.
Yeah, so bit of a switch up from Game 1. Of course, in Game 1, it was Krom'z taking that Oki first, and Hong KFC trying to answer back with the Lulu. They've swapped those monsters, but we're going to see still some familiar faces all throughout. The Sierra and Cardinal on Krom'z' side, Moore and Chungpong now over on Hong KFC.
So it seems like this match, we're going to be seeing a bit of response with some speed leaders, with some really fast units. And if you look at the side of Hong KFC, the Haegang, right? This unit has been super fast, grabbing a turn more often than not. So that's why Krom'z bans it out.
Bans out the Hagon. Well, we're going into match point. Both players want to win this to move on into the winners finals here for Group B of the APAC preliminaries.
This is match point for both players as we see Moore getting the passive. So he's going to be able to try to cut in. Unfortunately, didn't grab a lot of strips. So this is not the best setup for Okeanos. That's why he is hesitating now. Does he want to go for the spear? Does he want to go for the rain of stones? And that's what he goes for. But it just seems like things are not looking good until this happened. Look at the setup from Hong KFC.
Oh, wow. I mean, went for the Rain of Stones earlier, but still Hong KFC able to follow up with so much of his own setup afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, the speed tuning was really clean for Hong KFC, but after turn 1, when Jogun responds now with the scroll trap, is it going to be too much for Hong KFC to deal with? As we see now, Lulu, she doesn't have any skills. Sierra, she doesn't have any skills. It is definitely looking good for Hong in that sense.
Now, Krom'z just trying to make sure that you're able to cycle through as much as possible.
Not too many stuns, though, so we see Sierra potentially grabbing a turn here. It is getting scary as the bombs is coming up.
All right, and it lands onto Ganymede.
Yeah, it lands as always. Ganny right now sitting there looking real unhealthy, especially with the bomb now. And of course, he doesn't have any skill, so he can only go for the glancing at this point. Okeanos grabbing more control, making sure that Lulu is locked down.
Yeah, this is... Oh, did have the lockdown to Lulu, but Lulu says, no, I am free. I am going to support my teammates, and gets the heal and the immunity onto Carnal.
Yeah, I mean, Carnal, he's not fantastic with landing stuns from what I've seen, but of course the attack speed slow is going to be very huge. But if you look at the match right now, Sierra, that's so unhealthy.
Yeah, yep, there we go. Just gets deleted with that last blip of health. And now it's all on this Carnal, really, for Krom'z.
Absolutely. Sierra going down does mean that Hong KFC, once he takes down the Carnal, there's not going to be too much threat from the opposing side. Carnal getting the provoke, making sure the armor break doesn't come out, but it is.
Wow, okay, so Chung Pong gets another turn.
Going for the attack bar reduction, grabbing the control. He's looking to set up the Oki, but he's got to wait one more turn. Lulu, she's got the heal, the immunity, she gives it to herself. And at this point, Moore with the strip into a stun is going to be able to set up Okeanos, but look at the Carnal!
Gets the provoke and the turn and is able to take out the Okeanos!
The only problem now is Moore is so strong in the late game, he can solo many comps by himself. So if you're Krom'z, you have to get turns on the Lulu.
No, but we have Moore focusing down the Lulu. Lulu stunned once again.
The Despair runes are so crucial this match. The Lulu has not been able to get turned 2 times now. And we see Carnal. He is just left at 1 HP, and that punch is going to send him to his grave.
Goodness, this is how you play against Lulu. You can have Lulu on the board, but if Lulu can't do anything, she is useless in that match. Hong KFC answers right back and takes the 3rd game. That means it's a 2-1 victory for Hong KFC as he moves on to the winners finals here in Group B for the APAC preliminaries in SWC 2021.
Definitely the main highlight of that match was the Despair Moore. Usually we do see a lot of Moores ruined on Despair, sometimes on Swift, and we see why Despair Moore is chosen sometimes because of those crazy stunts.
The stunts coming out at the perfect times for Moore, and Hong KFC knowing when to switch his targets, right? When to really lock down the Lulu and then return to putting out the damage onto the enemy DPS. And he's able to just really wipe out the enemy team systematically 1 by 1 to bring home the victory here in Game 3.
Yeah. Definitely, it has been an unfortunate time for Lulu here. As you said, taking out units 1 by 1. That's where Lulu sustain can fall off sometimes, as we see a recap of round 1. And this is where, once again, we see the Okeanos trying to shine through the Ganny, but we see Diana with some comeback damage as we eventually get later on into the game. The Hagon was taken out, but the Carnal was just too strong of a counter to Diana.
Yeah, not able to take out enough units with the Diana early enough, but Krom'z in this 2nd game with the Savannah, very tanky, doesn't go down so easily early on.
Hong KFC, he tried something with the Chloe, but it didn't work out. So he went right back to the composition between this Ganny-Oki synergy. And we see now this is when Krom'z was able to get some turn back with the Jogun, but just Okeanos kept going with the rain of stones. And while Carnal, he couldn't get the stones onto Moore because of the attribute advantage. And Moore was just able to utilize that, get to the late game, and take out the Carnal.
Yep, Moore being able to utilize every one of his turns, cutting in wherever possible, and that brings home the victory for Hong KFC. A 2-1 hard-earned victory, but a victory nonetheless as he moves on here in Group B's winners bracket for day one of the group in the APAC preliminaries.
At this point, we are now sitting on the winners finals.
Diligent versus Hong KFC. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is going to be a best of 5. That's been a format change coming into SWC 2021. In those last matches of each group, we will have these best of 5. So Diligent versus Hong KFC. This is going to be an exciting winners finals.
Absolutely. Like, Diligent, we have seen this guy. He's been like your definition of a Summoner's War teacher. He always knows what he's doing, and he's just doing it so cleanly. And on the other side, we have Hong KFC. This guy, we've also seen very clean plays. He is no stranger to utilizing his extremely fast runes. He knows when he's getting the advantage, right, with the Haegang, so he picks it whenever he needs it, and just such clean gameplays overall.
It really just seems to be an interesting matchup. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it is Diligent versus Hong KFC in the winners finals. It is a best of 5 to see who takes the first spot to the APAC up in Group B of the APAC preliminaries in SWC 2021. Don't go anywhere.
Wanted to bring to your attention again, after every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You want to see a soft Ciara getting hit by Crossmove. Look at we're gonna get that full team strip attack our first guy.
He did not pull a Changpang yet. I would have thought I would choose Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Okay, here we go. Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's the 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
Wanted to bring to your attention again, as we do every single SWC broadcast. Camilla here. You don't see a soft Ciara getting hit by Krom'z. Looking to get that full team driven back our first guy.
He did not pull the Changpang yet. I would have thought I would see Sierra first pick. He goes to the
Oh, Lucian, it's over. Lucian, it's 12,000.
Mr. Chung is going to be this year's SWC champion.
This is war. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'll show you who's boss. The world is now a real-time battlefield. Join the global battlefield. Summoner's War, Lost Centuria. Download now.
One match left to determine the first player to move on to the APAC Cup here from the Group B of APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. Diligent and Hong KFC, two players looking to challenge the world. Who will move on and secure their spot to the APAC Cup, and who will have to wait until tomorrow for a second chance? Our first player will be Diligent.
definitely one of the most hyped up matchups we have, especially given this is the finals today. Diligent, this guy, he has been untouched so far within his strategy, 2-0ing all of his opponents.
Yep, 2-0, 2-0 against Silent Control and Xere respectively. And we talked about it before, but just having such calculated play, knowing exactly how to work around the enemy compositions, whether it's in the draft or in the game. On the flip side, though, we now have Hong KFC, who you've mentioned it. He comes prepared with his roots. He knows how to make sure he secures those turns that he wants. And then on top of that, he still has answers in the game, as we saw in his semifinals against Krom'z.
Absolutely. When it comes to Hong KFC, we can't just not talk about his lineup of CC being ruined really fast, as you said. And that does kind of like coincide with the strategy of Diligent, because they are both trying to lock down the opponent. So it is definitely going to be an interesting matchup. I'm expecting a lot of pre-bans targeting these type of units, and also first picks being utilized to take units away.
I love to see it. It's time to see a bit of a headbutt between these two players. Diligent versus Hong KFC in the winners finals of Group B in the APAC preliminaries on the road to SWC 2021. The player who wins this match already in the APAC Cup, first pre-bans in Game 1, will be Gianna and Ragdoll as we kick off this best of 5.
A very safe go-to for pre-bans for both players, as we see Hong KFC. He's got the first pick. Now the question is, will it be Okeanos again?
Okeanos has been doing very well today. I don't see any reason to necessarily avoid it, and it is indeed going to be locked in for Hong KFC. Now, Diligent, do you continue to answer back with just more of the common picks, or are you already setting the tone here?
Common picks like Fire Bison and Lulu, but Diligent, I do like this potential switch up from him, because if you go Fire Bison and Lulu, today the problem has been the opponent takes Ganny. Now they got Ganny Oki, they pair it with like Amor or Chungpong, and usually it's been just too much of a combo to deal with. So I really like that Diligent has made that combo not come here again, as we see Chungpong
also at 66%, also 6 wins. I mean, these Art Masters, there's a reason a lot of these players have a lot of focus on the different Art Masters we're seeing. Why Chungpong and more locked in for Han KFC. Does the Han come back again?
Han is definitely a shiny unit when it comes to damage popping off. And of course, Wunsa is there for the synergy. Diligent has the speed leader for Wunsa in both Sierra and Han. The only problem is, if the last pick is not a dark unit, it could become a little anti-synergetic. So of course the draft here is going to play a huge role, as Hong he is opting for a more defensive lineup, that really fast Haegang and Lulu.
Okay, so the Lulu and Haegang, 2 more water units now being placed in the hands of Hong KFC. Diligent looking at the last pick. What's it going to be? A lot of considerations here, as you mentioned, for different synergies in his compositions.
5 seconds left, and he decides to potentially switch it up all the way. He's like, you know what? I no longer need to finish up my lineup. I'm rather going to look at the opponent's side and pick a unit that really counters them well, because there's a lot of reliance on water on the side of Hong KFC. So this Diana pick is definitely really scary coming out of Diligent.
Okay, so the Diana now adding more of those wind monsters for himself on Diligent's side. Hong KFC does ban out the Ganymede against him. Diligent will respond by banning out the Okeanos as his post-ban in this Game 1. This is a best of 5. Oh, the leaders now being locked in as well.
Yeah, speaking of leaders, Diligent did opt for the Sierra's 24% instead of Han's 30% for the Wunsa. But here is the confidence showing from Diligent. He knows he can grab the turn anyways, but the strip is a bit of a miss. But it does not matter, because Sierra was there. She only needed 1 unit strip, but of course the stun matters.
The stun onto Sierra, so Moore already doing his job as we kick things off in this best of 5. It's the first game, and it's already on fire.
Fire indeed, as we see Diana. I like that Diligent didn't use the shield there. He saved his inevitable wound so that in the turn coming, Diana's immediately going to be a threat. But of course, once Chungpong reset the Diana still needs to wait an extra turn, as he says, no thank you.
There is that extra turn. It comes right back for the Diana, so doesn't have to wait that much longer. Now gets the shield up for his entire team.
The problem there was, it feels so good to switch forms and go for the inevitable wound, but you just gave attack bar to Moore, and at that point she could have got cut and got despair stun. So that was a really safe play out of Diligent. I love how slow he's taking this. As we see now, Wunsa, he's only got skill 1. If it lands asleep, that would be huge, but not today.
Yeah, Moore still going to be awake and healthy right now. So Diligent still just playing things calmly, step by step. This is what we've seen from him. He's very calm and collected in every single matchup.
The one-turn control out of Chongpeng doing so much work for Hong KFC right now. And we see, of course, the armor break is still there on Han and Sierra. So Moore is going to try to capitalize those debuffs and get some damage done. He's got the skill too. He's got the setup. Rolling Spike is there for some damage.
Yeah, puts out a lot of damage. I mean, Diligent, you're slowly getting chipped down on all of your monsters with all this AoE coming out. Han continuing to be focused quite a bit as well. He's on the verge of death.
But now Diana has the Pew Pew angle. She can go for a unit of her choosing. It's going to be Moore, and now Moore's going to be looking for the kill onto Han.
Oh, answers right back. So Moore stays alive. Han gets eliminated. Han KFC.
Oh!
Had a numbers advantage, but it looks like perhaps no longer, as Diana looking for another shot.
He's going for a bit of a spread onto Chongpeng, setting up the Sierra nicely. Fate of Destruction is there, but it's going to miss. And now he's just going to have to utilize the skill 1 onto Moore to take him out.
Yeah, doesn't get the bomb, still, of course, able to get that turn off of the skill to finish off Moore. So we're back to a 3v3 as Diana gets a turn, transforms back.
3v3, but just look at Diana. If you look at the matchup between these three, Diana alone is representing the force of 50 monsters. Diana, how do you deal with this if you're Hong KFC? You have to be landing, glancing to at least buy some time, but he's afraid of going for it. He wants the attack bar reduction instead. But now, the problem is, Lulu has a heal, but Diana, if she gets a turn, that could be just one unit dead.
Yeah, Hong KFC, as you mentioned, just trying to delay the inevitable as far as possible, but it is creeping forward.
Here we have more control being attempted. Chongpeng a turn away from the control skills. The skill 1 going to be grabbing a little bit of attack bar reduction, but we have, of course, Wunsa getting the strip on one unit, which is more than enough for Sierra to set up the bomb and go for the detonate.
Oh, wow, there we go, and it's actually just going to wipe him right out. So there goes Hong KFC calling the GG, and Diligent will be leading this best of 5. This guy is a machine. He doesn't stop considering every single factor in his games.
That Diana pick was really smart by Diligent, identifying his opponent's weakness very nicely, and he was able to get to a point where Diana was just too strong and Hong KFC did not have enough answers, realizing that he chose to concede.
Yeah, doesn't have the answers to be able to take out the Diana nor controller fully enough to make sure that the inevitable is just absolutely denied. It's only delayed, and eventually Diligent does show the power of that pick. So now, Diligent leading 1-0. It's still a best of 5, so there are a couple more games in store. Han now being banned out by Hong KFC. Doesn't want to have to worry about that monster, trying to focus it down. Haegang, meanwhile, the ban for Diligent.
It is definitely a monster that makes you worry because of all the utilities it brings within the leader skill, within the damage. As we now see, once again, we're going to be seeing a bit more of a standard trade-off, you know, getting a bit of CC for themselves. Okeanos, more perfect.
This is where we get to catch our breath, Peter, is these first couple picks. We know what's coming. These players have been quite consistent. The Okeanos is no big surprise. The Gianna finally able to make a reappearance, still sitting at a healthy win rate so far in the APAC preliminaries. And more, of course, has shown up pretty much in every game today. Pontos does get locked in for Diligent.
Pontos, this is a unit that we haven't seen much today, but finally he does make an appearance. It is a unit that is technically countered by Gianna if you think about it, because his main upside is his buffs, but Gianna makes buffs something negative.
That's true. Gianna, of course, ever so strong while being able to strip and then stun off of those beneficial effects being taken away. So Han KFC perhaps not too worried. He's going to stick with Lulu and Chongpeng for himself as we wait now for the last picks on Diligent's side.
I have to point out this Ganny. This Ganny is grabbing so much value for Diligent right now. He's got the Oki there. He's got the Pontos there. No matter what you ban besides Ganny, he's always going to have a really strong combo coming in with a draft like this. Savannah just going to be rounding out the draft, bringing the extra damage that makes Diligent feel comfy. But of course, when we do see a Rika from the opposing side, you can't help but wonder if you're Diligent, is my Pontos going to get banned?
It's gotta be. I mean, look at Rika already at an
God.
83%. I mean, Rika dominated last week in Group A. 5 wins, only 1 loss, and as you called it, the Pontos gets eliminated, and now Hong KFC looking at this Rika to do some damage against Diligent's lineup.
So Diligent took out the counter to Pontos, right? But now that Pontos got banned out, we can say that Diligent kind of lost out on the ban here because now he is going into the match with an open field for Rika. His only shot was getting the reset onto Rika. Of course, Okeanos being locked down does make that harder, but Savannah has the critical link to set up for the Ganny right now. Seal Magic is going to be the follow-up. He's got the speed tuning, so of course, it's going to land as it always does.
Oh, whew. Well, that is one breath that Diligent can take. Doesn't have to worry about the Rika too much for now, but of course the inevitable will happen if he's not able to lock it down soon enough.
But it's just so scary. If you look at Diligent, his field, he's already falling below the healthy range on his HP bars, and he does not have any sustain. And Rika also has a built-in sleep on skill 1, which can bring all the cooldowns back. So if you're Diligent, you are definitely sitting right now with a bit of worry.
Yeah, not too many answers. As you mentioned, Rika just bothers you so much in every skill that she has. So we'll see if Diligent is able to work around that. Hong KFC continuing to just control the board as much as possible.
Here we go. He's looking for the Rika show. He lands a Despair, but not a Sleep. So there's no additional turn for the Rika for now. Of course, if you're Diligent, you are very happy to see that. You got to make use of the time now wisely. And he decides that Moore is too much of a threat to his comp. We can see him prioritizing damage, but the glancing, man.
The glancing is going to prevent a lot of that damage he had hoped to put down. So much immunity as well. So no Rain of Stones, but going for that spear.
The spear gets resisted. We can see Diligent, he really wants to make sure that the Rika is not popping off. The glancing there from Ganny to try to prevent some of that advantage coming out of Rika, of course, as we see Savannah dismounted. Of course, units are starting to look a bit unhealthy for Diligent. Rika, so scary whenever she grabs a turn, but she does not get the sleep.
Ooh, so Rika not getting those sleeps just yet, but as you mentioned, Diligent's still pretty weak. Okay.
Okeanos not doing so okay with the stuns.
It's, you know, it's not what we've seen from him before today. I mean, today he's been so consistent. In this game, not yet.
Look at the ragdoll damage piling up. The torrent coming out for 10,000. Chung Pung is going to be brought down real low. He's looking for the control now onto Ganny. Grabs the attack bar reduction, but the ragdoll's passive kicks in. More attack bar for Savannah. More attack bar for everyone as Diligent trying to take out the Chung Pung.
Diligent's trying his best to turn things around. I mean, he's been doing so well trying to keep that Rika at bay, and now the Ragdoll also shining with that passive is going to get the first kill against Hong KFC. That Chung Pung now out of the game.
Rika has her skill 2 up, so we have to pay attention to how many stuns, how many attack speed slows she gets. Boy Knight, and he gets 2-man stun, triple attack speed slow.
That is a lot of control used against, and Moore is able to finish the job, taking down one monster as well. So now it is back to a 3v3, but already so behind. So Diligent just concedes, says this is too much to handle, and Hong KFC answers right back with a win of his own in game number 2 of this best of 5 in the winner's final.
I feel like Hong really had upper hand in the draft there against Diligent. He knew that his Gianna might get banned anyways, right? So you just go ahead and take out the Pontos. If your Gianna gets banned, you don't have an answer to it, right? But he knew that was going to happen, and that's why he was able to get the Rika through. And wow, just look at the result.
The draft set up for himself. Takes the Rika, bans out the Pontos. Hong KFC says, I have prepared just as much as you, Diligent. We are now tied 1-1. It is a best of 5. Both players still needing 2 more wins to secure their spot in the APAC Cup as we're watching the winners finals in Group B of the APAC preliminaries. We return to the same pre-bans in Game 1. It's Gianna and Ragdoll being eliminated.
We wanted to see blood, and we are definitely getting it, Chobra. Already 1-1 as we get into the third match between these players. Hong KFC recognizing Okeanos to be one of the stars in his lineup. And last time this happened, Diligent did pick up the Sierra Ganymede, but switching it up now to the Moore.
So bringing Moore over to his side. Moore has been pretty consistent for Hong KFC, so takes that away, and then the Ganymede, as you mentioned. So taking away these monsters that we've seen paired quite a bit with that Okeanos, Hong KFC answers with Sierra and still going for that Haegang that he's ever so favored.
Haegang is definitely one of the favorite monsters of Hong KFC, as you said, Chobra. And now we are seeing the Tianlang potentially making an appearance again for Diligent, paired with the Lulu, grabbing a lot of heals for himself.
Yeah, lots of sustain. We're starting to see a bit more shifts. I mean, both of these players, they clearly put in a lot of thought into both their draft and their gameplay once we go in. So very interested to see how they continue to round out their compositions. Hong KFC now considering his last 2 picks here in game number 3.
So what's interesting about Tianlang is that he can be utilized as a bit of a counter to the Haegang, because one of the main mechanisms of Haegang is that when you strip a buff, your team gets attack bar, right? But we see the Fran's win rate. That's not very pretty.
That is not high at all. To be fair, a lot of times we see the Fran having to go up against Lulu, and Lulu clearly has a very high win rate, but that is a bit worrisome. Fran, of course, still a strong monster, so Hong KFC going to pick that one up for himself. Diligent down to the last second is going to round things out with Cardinal.
I do like the Cardinal. It's got synergy with Gany, and it brings a purpose to the strippers that he has picked through Tianlang and more. At this point, we are looking at 1 sustain on each side, and we've seen a lot of bans prioritizing taking out the opponent's sustain. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see potentially Fran or Lulu being banned from one of these players. If not, they should be taking out one of like the crucial monsters in terms of carrying, like Sierra.
Sierra and Tianlang. So instead of the sustain, they're more concerned about some of these key monsters on both sides. Diligent bans out the Sierra. Hong KFC bans out the Light Panda Warrior, and now we are all ready to jump into game number 3 in this best of 5. It's the winners finals to see who moves on to the APAC Cup from Group B here in the APAC preliminaries.
And we see the Moore grabbing the first turn for Diligent, and we see the Okeanos responding now. The passive of Haegang boosting the attack bar of the Okeanos gives a shot for the Spear of Devastation to land onto Gany and get the reset.
Yeah, Gany not going to have that skill 3. There's not too many options here.
Yeah, the Ventilate is there for the strip to be set up for the Cardinal if needed. But of course, now Chungpong is going to take his turn. He's got the strip. He can reset. Of course, Chungpong always has so many different things he can do.
Yeah, Chungpong, this is the reason why we see this Wind Art Master so often as he goes for all the glancing across the board.
Yeah, and now we see the attack bar reduction out of Moore. Will it be enough for Cardinal to get a turn before Fran? That is the main point we were looking at. But look at that. The second Fran cuts in, Cardinal becomes that much weaker.
Yeah, you see all that immunity, and Cardinal doesn't have too many things he wants to do in this situation. Sure, you have the options, but they're just not going to be as impactful. Still a lot of damage done.
Damage, but not quite enough, as we see now the response from Hong KFC grabbing all the control. We have seen how devastated Chungpong can be with the skill 3, but of course Lulu is there to try to buy some time for Diligent, and he says no to your damage.
Yeah, Lulu is kind of the big hope now for Diligent. You just have to be able to buy enough time for your team to get another window of opportunity, but will it come?
Will it come indeed? That's the question. As we see Chungpong, he is a turn away from setting up some armor break for Okeanos and Haegang. Ganymede also a turn away from Ventilate. Both players right now, they do need to buy some time, as Cardinal's going to be fantastic at that with Sword Rain, looking for 3 stuns, and he gets none.
None! So unfortunate. Had 3 members available to be stunned, doesn't get any. So it's not going to provide the value that Diligent was looking for. Lulu's still doing her best to keep the team alive.
That 0 stun is going to snowball for Hong. It is going to be very scary for Diligent now, as he has to take the brunt force of these skills. Reset landing onto Ganny again. This Ganny has not been happy this game.
Yeah, Ganymede hasn't been able to do anything for Diligent. Sure, you've got the Ventlets, but even then, you don't have much to set up for, as Hong KFC has been able to respond every time. Does get the resets for Cardinal, so Cardinal will have his skills back.
But the problem is, if we look at the match now, Diligent is in a really comfortable spot. All he needs to do is take out the Okeanos, and there is Cardinal, there's more to carry the match, and this will be the killing blow onto Okeanos, and look at the stuns.
Wow, gets 2 stuns this time and eliminates the Okeanos. That is huge for the Cardinal, now providing
Rolling
the value. Wow.
Value of damage coming out now from Moore, and look at the field. What a advantage for Diligent as he secures the win against Hong KFC.
Diligent comes back again. Things looked a bit awry in the beginning of the game, and he still just holds true. Like you mentioned, Peter, he knew exactly what he had to wait for. He knew what he was playing up against. He knew what to work with despite his Ganymede not being able to do much. Diligent just knows how to think through the game.
Living up to his name and reputation. That is why we never count this player out whenever we see him. Now sitting in a very comfortable spot. 2-1 advantage over Hong KFC coming in to round number 4.
Round number 4, this is match point for Diligent. So if he wins here, he will secure his spot in the APAC Cup. Hong KFC, meanwhile, that means he will have to wait until tomorrow's losers finals to get a second chance. The pre-bans repeat themselves from game number 2. Haegang and Han taken out of the game. Okeanos continues to be that first pick.
Continues to be the first pick, but for Hong, he says, Gianna is more important to me than the Ganymede. So now Diligent, of course, he can just go ahead and lock in that trusty combo as we see Lulu the pair, a popular pair into pretty much any type of composition. And if you're Hong right now, you are definitely sitting there feeling scared of Ganny Oki.
Yeah, you gave away that combo. Sure, you prioritized the monsters you wanted, but that is a combo to be feared time and time again. Hong KFC, does he have other answers prepared? I mean, we saw some good drafting from him in round 2. Can he pull it off again as he locks in Chungpeng and Fran?
Hong KFC mentioned that last year, nerves were some of the biggest troubles for him in SWC. He just got too nervous and he couldn't think straight. And right now, I'm sure he's feeling more nervous than ever. He needs to get his mind together because this last pick coming out of Diligent and from Hong is going to decide a lot of things in this match point for Diligent.
Yeah, Hong KFC, again, he made it happen. He twisted the tables at the end of the draft for game 2 as we see Diligent locking in Diana and Ragdoll. Hong KFC, a lot to consider if he wants to stay alive here in this best of 5. Is he still going to go with the Rika? I mean, Rika has been providing a lot of value, very high win rate for this monster.
And I wouldn't be too surprised to see a ban onto Rika from Diligent, but he decides that his reset from Okeanos is going to be more than enough to deal with the Rika, but last time we have seen that it wasn't, so it is going to be a question now. How effectively can Diligent keep the Rika down?
Okay, well, game number 4 between these two players. It's the winners finals of best of 5. Diligent needs only one more win to move on to the APAC Cup.
Here we go. Diana getting some attack bar after more. She's got the shield, but Chungpeng will be able to cleanse, strip the debuffs right off. As now Diana, of course, Diligent realizing that, opts for skill 1 instead.
All right, so just going to get that attack in and pass the turn for now. Same for Ganymede.
Ganymede did not do much, but Okeanos is here and he misses! This is why we were talking about Rika being too much of a threat sometimes, because once you miss your one shot, you get it right back.
Oh my gosh. I mean, last time you did your best to hold off that Rika, but this time you only have that one chance with the Okeanos and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many stuns, right, from the Rika, but it doesn't matter because the dots are there for the damage. As time ticks by, damage will tick as well. And of course, Oki Ganny, although they are strong together, if there's no strip, they are not strong at all.
Yeah, the shield trying to mitigate whatever you can from the Diana, but you called it, Peter. I mean, these dots, they look so intimidating above everybody's head right now, chipping away.
Diana's shield buying some time, right? Putting up some resistance against the dots. But Rika is here with the Toy Knight. She's looking to grab a lot more control for Hong. Once the Fran ends her turn, she is going to be now a turn and 2 turns basically away from skill 3. Ragdoll, he can't really get any kills right now.
Yeah, no answers right now. No windows for those kills. Just getting what damage he can against that Moore.
And now here is time for Rika to show up with double stuns. Okeanos, you have a bit of an angle for Rain of Stones, but with the glancing, you're not going to land on water. The rolling strike out of Moore is going to do some good damage. And now Diana, definitely, you want to try to sustain.
Yeah, has to go for that shield. You got to stay alive right now. You're trying to extend your life ever so little. You got 2 stuns at the very least. And now what can Diligent do? Is Hong going to give him another window as Chungpeng gets another turn?
Another turn for Chungpeng, very crucial because next turn he would have had the skill 3 and skill 2, but the revenge out of Diana showing to be very useful, but despair as well.
Stuns across both sides as Diana now going to be locked down for the foreseeable future. Okeanos just gets the attack and cycles the turn.
This is the deciding moment for Diligent. He needed the attack bar reduction, but he could not get it. So effectively, he's basically lost a turn of CC. And this is going to be a free turn now for the Rika. Anytime she gets a free turn, you are a bit worried. Oki, a turn away. Diligent still needs to buy just 1 turn more worth of time as he's looking for some damage onto Fran.
Yeah, just 1 turn. Can we wait for that for Diligent? Can Diligent hang on to dear life here in Game 4? He is only 1 win away from going to the APAC Cup in SWC 2021.
Hong KFC playing smart right now, targeting wind with water. But here's Okeanos. Oh. The Rika, she's got the angle though. If she gets a sleep here, this could be game over for Diligent because that skill 3 could be too much. She couldn't get the sleep. Now it's now or never. Diligent with the ventilate onto Okeanos. This is a time where Okeanos needs to shine, but Chungpeng, he is sitting there. He's looking for the attack bar reduction into another turn. He is looking for something to happen. He needs to buy time for the Rika, but you look at the attack bars. Okeanos has a setup. Rika just needs 1 turn. She is looking to resist the Rain of Stones.
Oh, the stun comes through and Rika won't get that turn she was waiting for.
Just 1 turn, man. That is all Hong KFC needs right now. But you look at Ganny, he's got Seal Magic. It's not going to get good attack bar reduction, but of course, the damage is good enough. As we see now, Okeanos, Rain of Stones, finishing the job. And look at Rika.
Oh, Rika gets stunned at the last time. The Rain of Stones finally locking her down when it mattered. The Okeanos pulls through once again, and now Diligent takes that Game 4 win, meaning he takes the series 3-1, secures his spot at the APAC Cup for SWC 2021.
Huge props to Diligent. We have seen many scenarios where Rika has an open field. We see her pop up, it's no surprise, but it is not common to see players return with a comeback of their own against it. But that's what Diligent had. He waited his time for when Okeanos had a perfect window of opportunity on Rain of Stones.
Yeah, very good patience from him. Of course, this goes all the way back to even Game 1 when he took the lead in this best of 5.
And here we have the first match between the players. This is when the Diana pick from Diligent was very smart. It was able to counter the lineup of Hong KFC very effectively. And this is match number 2, where the Rika we just talked about was too much for Diligent. Once she got her turn, it seemed like there was no coming back for Diligent.
Yeah, Diligent not able to work around that in Game 2. Of course, we'll see later on him making an answer in Game 4, but in Game 3, goes back to the trusted composition and Diligent takes another victory.
We are seeing Carnal with the Sword Rain. This guy usually doesn't land too many stuns, but it does good damage, and that's all he needed. And the final match, this is where things were looking scary all along for Diligent, but the Rika, if she got an additional turn with her skill 1 even once, that could have changed things significantly, but it did not happen.
Yeah, Rika just not able to secure enough of those turns, as you mentioned, Peter. And you called it. I mean, when we saw the Rika pop off at the beginning of the game, I thought it was all but over. I mean, so much momentum going over to Hong KFC's side. but the Rika not able to finish the job, and Diligent not giving up, knowing that he just has to wait for that one moment. He makes it happen, takes the victory, and it's a 3-1 victory as Diligent moves on to the APAC Cup here from Group B in the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. Of course, this is just the winners bracket. All the players you see here who didn't make it through, they will have one more chance tomorrow in the losers bracket.
And tomorrow we have the players we have seen today again. Silent Control up against Icedcoyote in round 1. And we have, of course, the final boss, right? Hong KFC. He's got another shot tomorrow.
Yeah, Hong KFC, he is slotted right into that losers finals tomorrow. He just has to wait and play one more best of 5 to try to secure that second spot here from Group B for the APAC Cup. But Diligent, you gotta give props to this guy. I mean, the way he played, the way he's thinking about the game, the way he's working around everything, never giving up. I mean, just very, very impressive.
Absolutely. When it comes to this guy, it feels like he is always a step ahead of pretty much most of his opponents. You know, I've been playing RT a long time, and when I saw the last round, right, the draft, I was really questioning Rika not being banned, but he saw it through.
I mean, he got played once in the draft right in that game too. I mean, that's really props to Hong KFC thinking ahead of the curve. But in that game 4, Diligent struck right back. And this is also why we have these best of 5s now, right, to give them these chances. But that means Diligent securing his spot, taking that first spot out of Group B in the APAC preliminaries. He moves on to the APAC Cup. The other 7 players, they're not out just yet. It is double elimination. They will have that extra chance tomorrow, and that is going to be a heated bracket as well.
For sure, of course, these players, especially when you're on the losers rounds, you know that this is your last shot, so that is digging into your back a little more, giving you the extra push to bring on your A game.
Okay, well, we've got an extra code for all of you watching at home. It is going to be Summon Together SWC, but together with a 2. A little bit of elite speak coming back. That's been lost in gaming for a little while. We should use it more. But Summon Together SWC for those summoning stones. So everyone at home, hope you enjoyed the code. Hope you enjoyed the matches today. I mean, Group A kicked off very well. We had all the Onimushas and Panda Warriors coming out. Today we saw a little bit more finesse, or working around kind of the same compositions, but using them in different ways to work around the enemy comps.
Yeah, definitely a lot of different play styles within these groups, whereas Group A, they love damage on damage, blood on blood. Group B, they like to be, you know, thinking who's the better professor, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A little bit more educational, a little bit more finesse, right? Not just going for, you know, one combo and that's all you're hoping for, but always looking for these second chances, trying to make the window happen rather than forcing it right out the gate. So, I mean, this is, again, the joy of watching these APAC preliminaries. We got all these different groups with different players that are coming from different metas. Very exciting to watch. Of course, on August 8th, there's another event coming up, this time for Summoner's War Lost Centuria. It will be an event match, the Lost Centuria World Showdown, so don't miss it. That is on August 8th here for the Summoner's War universe. Of course, afterwards, the SWC 2021 preliminaries for APAC will continue. Of course, all the other regional preliminaries scheduled as well, as we're all moving towards the SWC 2021 World Finals. We're only on day 3, right? We finished week 1 here. We're here on day 1 of the second week, but this has been just exhilarating to watch all these different players, Peter.
Right, and one of the things that I want to point out, especially within the matches we had today, where it was more about the skill 3, skill 2 control, you know, we see always the cooldowns, right? Us, the viewers and the casters, we know exactly the skill is 2 turns away, 1 turn away, but when you're a player playing in the moment, you cannot see it. So more often than not, you need to come in there remembering, oh, so Okeanos, it's on like a 4-turn cooldown, he has it just about now, and really, there's just so much brain, you know, strategy going around, and it was definitely so fun to see some of that finesse you were talking about, Chobra.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tracking that you have to do and making sure, kind of calculating, all right, what are the risks I want to take? Do I get the reset? Do I not get it? If that happens, do I have an answer? And I think both players in the winners finals today showed that they were thinking through that. Diligent just one step ahead, but it was great to see Hong KFC answer back in that Game 2 draft as well. Overall, just a very kind of deep thinking matchup between those two players in the winners finals.
And when it comes to deep thinking, right, we just had so many great players for that, but of course Diligent was the one today to show that he had the most diligence when it comes to thinking Summoner's War.
Yeah, I mean, Diligent living up to his name. Well, he will be moving on to the APAC Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, we return tomorrow with the losers bracket of Group B in the APAC preliminaries for SWC 2021. We'll see you tomorrow.